welcome everyone to the Circle Debate Podcast, episode 105. Not the freeway 105 freeway here in Southern California, but episode 105, ladies and gentlemen. This is the host, Stevie's One IBC, and here with me, Familia, the faction, the greatest faction of all time here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go ahead and introduce, of course, my other host with the most, because he asks the 6ix9ine answers. He does ask for the 6ix9ine questions. And he has his 6ix9ine thoughts because he's tired of these damn stooge. He's tired of Stanford stooge because he is bigger.
Professional wrestling, bigger than Hackenschmidt, bigger than Gotch, bigger than Thez, bigger than Flair, bigger than Hogan, bigger than Moxley, bigger than
Keep going! Keep going!
Tonight, but we're gonna run out of airtime.
Bigger than Ibushi!
God, I love this. Bigger than Ibushi.
And he's also bigger than this man as
Me, just like Bill Watts, Eddie Graham, Vince McMahon, and Vern Gagne.
And that is right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. 69 himself, and that is Mr. MGC Matty Cyber Fight Steamboat.
Bigger than Skyline Philly.
We can't hear you now. You got to take off the headphones. We can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Oh, you're on mute now.
Yeah.
You mute yourself, man.
There we go.
There you go. There we
Many
go.
other things.
All right. And of course, we have our brother as well, who is, of course, Familia here on COD, besides also the Legal Extraordinary Podcast. Man himself that takes you to the past.
You're gonna see some serious shit.
And that is right, ladies and gentlemen. Our familia, our hermano, Mike De Niro from the Wrestling Delorean Podcast. What is going on, my brother? And of course, I have a special guest here. He's finally here on the show today. And he's a big supporter here for the Circle Debate Podcast. And this individual has a mind of an IQ that, shit, I could tell you that Joe Rogan will be like, yes! Exactly, because this man has the IQ. That's why you got to listen and follow and subscribe to Cage My IQ. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Dan Blakely from Cage My IQ. What's up, brother? How are you? Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me. I feel honored to come on finally.
Yes, finally. It is about time, ladies and gentlemen. But let's get into it, man. It's a lot of shit just happened this past week and a lot of things happening this week. So, I mean, we are in the summer technically, but it's the summer of injuries, man. It's just the summer of fucking injuries, man.
Not the summer of fun. Summer of
Not
injuries.
the summer of injuries. I tell you that, because he's not the only one. Well, I can tell you that when people saw Cody, when they heard about Brian, this is all you heard all this time from everywhere in the internet world of professional wrestling. Hey, yo, what the fuck? And then, of course, you heard TK.
That's fucking bullshit.
That's right.
I knew it was a matter of time before you get that sound clip.
Of course. Of course, TK thought it was bullshit. And, man, it's unfortunate that all these top stars are injured, especially naming these three, especially with Cody and Brian and CM Punk. So I'm going to start it off, of course, with our guests. So go ahead and start off. Big Dan, tell us what your thoughts about these injuries and especially for the Cody, mainly in WWE. So, I mean, what are your thoughts overall?
They even had Adam Cole, who was hurt. That's why he's been doing those kind of like vignettes. He was on the mic watching the match last week. He didn't wrestle. It was supposed to be a 5-on-5, but they had to condense it to a 4-on-4 because he was hurt from the match at Double or Nothing, but he's fine now. And then, of course, Sonata had the orbital bone injury, which he is finally back from. And then Ospreay had the appendicitis or something like that. He had that, so now he's back. He had all these injuries, but that Cody one was just gruesome. They played it off with the storyline where he was working out, which he was working out. He got hurt. It was only partially torn, and then when he worked out again later in the week, he tore it off the bone. talked to WWE, and they're basically like, there's nothing worse that you can do to it. So he kind of pled to stay in the match. He fought. The whole thing was red and bruised. And now if you look at now after surgery, it's down his arm too now.
Yeah.
But I give him all the credit in the world for wrestling in that. Granted, he can't make it any worse, but to do not just a match, but a Hell in a Cell match, and to put on the performance that they did, that was probably one of my favorite Hell in a Cell matches, minus of course the first couple that they did with like Shawn Michaels and the Undertaker. That one they hit it out of the park with it. It just sucks that he's going to be out for the next 5 to 6 months for this, so it kind of like puts him out. And then of course we'll go into that a little bit with a few things that happened later on Raw. And then Danielson hurt himself. I haven't heard too much about that. They really haven't said how long he's going to be out. I hope he doesn't miss that Blood and Guts match. And then, of course, Forbidden Door. But hopefully it's just a small one where they're just holding him off TV for a little bit. And then I feel bad for Punk. He gets the win. He gets the title. And then he gets hurt on Dynamite. And they didn't say how long he was going to be out for. It's just that he had surgery. He's going to be out. So they're not taking the belt off him. They're just making an interim champion in the meantime. And it makes me wonder what would have happened with Moxley had Punk not got hurt.
That's very true. Very true.
Yeah.
My brother De Niro, what are your thoughts?
It's crazy how many injuries are happening right now. It's a shame because there's a lot of big names. I feel like AEW will be fine. They have a lot of injuries, but they have so much depth to their roster where the WWE losing Cody is a big, big deal because they already are struggling with Roman Reigns being more on a limited basis. They're lacking star power right now. And losing Cody is just like one big star that they had that's no longer going to be on the show for the time being. But yeah, like he was just saying, all respect to Cody for wrestling that matchup. It was insane. There's a lot of points of that match where I was just like cringing. I was like, gosh, how is he doing this? Especially when like Seth Rollins was like digging the kendo stick into the injury, and it was just disgusting. But definitely respect to Cody for wrestling that matchup. Bryan Danielson, I hope he is back before Forbidden Door because I feel like this show was made for somebody like Bryan Danielson, somebody who has been wanting to wrestle and made it well known that he wants to wrestle in New Japan and wrestle all these guys in New Japan. So it'll be a real travesty if Bryan Danielson's not going to be on that Forbidden Door show. For CM Punk, that was a real shocker. I saw he put out the tweet I think like an hour maybe before Rampage, where he said that he has a big announcement. I just had a bad feeling about it because I saw how he was limping. If you remember last week on the show, I was saying he looked like he was a little slow. He was limping, and I hope he's not hurt. He may need a couple weeks off. And then a couple days later, he's injured, has to relinquish the title. Just felt bad. But not to sound selfish, but I feel like it does bring more of a anything could happen now in AEW because now this is not going according to plan. Everything's just going to be on the fly, and it made this past Dynamite really exciting, I feel. Not saying I'm happy that he's hurt. I wish him a speedy recovery. But it did make AEW Dynamite this week a little bit more unpredictable.
But yeah, good shit. Yeah, hell yeah. Brian, Mr. 69.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I just tested my mic earlier. So I think one of the main things to look out for is, De Niro talked about this. We talked about this before. AEW's curse, what people said that, there's too much talent on the AEW roster. This is where that talent can step up now. Johnny Elite can now step into that spot. Roosh could step into that spot. I'll talk about that later, like them not using Roosh when we talk about this upcoming episode of Dynamite. But Roosh, Samoa Joe, Jay Lethal, the list goes on and on. Jonathan Gresham, Dalton Castle, Samoa, so many top level champion stars, and I guess there's room for them to step into those spots. What Kenny's going to be out for a while. I don't know what the deal with Danielson is, Punk, all these guys, but now it's their time to step up. In addition to the younger talent as well, getting to step into those spots as well. And that's kind of the good thing about it, the unpredictability, because I think there were some people that were thinking like, okay, we got to get through these CM Punk feuds before we see kind of CM Punk feuds to see where this goes, you know. And we were thinking we're gonna have to wait it out. And you know, I'm a fan. I'm not the biggest CM Punk fan. I like him, but you know, I don't mind seeing other guys kind of in that place, you know, in that spot. Same thing with other people in the place of Danielson. Like, I don't hate him, but I'm okay with, you know, other people taking those spots just because, you know, we get to see a little bit. We get to see another side of the flavor profile. We got the food. I got the food reference.
You banged that one out early today.
Jesus, I know, right? He did.
You didn't see that coming.
I did not see that coming.
That was an early curveball.
I did not see that coming. Man, I gotta get Gordon Ramsay clip. I gotta get a Gordon Ramsay clip for you. I have to this time.
That's an early, you know.
I don't know who that Facebook user is, but yes, let's say shout out to you, Danny. Yep. That's right. And also shout out to the Universal Wrestling Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Nick, of course, Dieterin. Awesome. And why is he telling you to go to bed, man? Guy needs to relax. You go to bed. As a matter of fact, no, you stay up.
Have a coffee with us.
Have a cup of Joe or a nice glass of beer. There you go. Well, I have enchilada. That's what I'm having. But all right, so this okay. For Cody, for me, it is an unfortunate because the hype was going for him. I was looking forward to seeing. That was Tyler Peters, by the way, from Rewind Wrestling Radio, who said, "What's up to you, Dan?" So
what's going on, Tyler?
And then he just messaged me, letting me know that. And then for Cody, it is an unfortunate because the hype was already going for him. He was the main star for Raw, and he was going to be the upcoming challenger. I think he was going to be the one winning Money in the Bank upcoming, you know, in July. But now do
you think that now that he's a foregone conclusion to win the Rumble now? Think it gives him the chance to do that?
I think so. I agree. I think that could be the case. And I wouldn't mind seeing that, to be honest, to see Cody winning the Rumble and challenging challenging Roman. But unless they separate the unification title, give it to somebody else, because, mind you, they still want to aim for the, you know, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock versus Roman for Mania next year here coming to LA. So that could be the direction they head with, you know. But the question is, who will be the one holding out their belt? That's the biggest question.
You can actually do both. Mania's 2 days.
That is true. You're right about that. You're right. You're absolutely
WWE
right.
hasn't done that, but I know when New Japan with the Wrestle Kingdom, they have the same guys wrestling on 2 days. Where WrestleMania, they just have like unique matches, unique competitors on the 2 days. They could have Roman Reigns defend twice.
Yeah, and they even had Kingdom do 3 days this year.
True, yeah.
They made the third one into like a special one that they did.
Oh, that's right. They did. That was with
Noah.
That was against Noah. Yeah.
Yes.
That was against Noah. Yes. But now with Cody out, who could be their top Raw star? There's so much potential on Monday Night Raw. You have 3 hours. They failed to do a Big E, him as a WWE champion. That's an unfortunate. I think the booking was disaster for him. I don't blame Big E. That's not his fault. It's just the way how it was booked. The one right now who they should really go for it and get him out of this feud after, I'm hoping, after maybe next week or so, since we're getting it next week on Raw, Kevin Owens starts pushing him. I think it's about damn time they push Kevin Owens. Turn him back into face, make him, you know, because obviously he was our version of Stone Cold for this era. His attitude, his charisma, the way how he carries himself, you know, in the program. And for God's sakes, he just got one of his bucket lists off, and he was, what else can you ask for? You wrestled your idol on WrestleMania, you main evented. Now, with Cody out of the picture, plan B, Kevin Owens should be the one. I think he has the most charismatic and has, you know, more potential to go to be in the main event level caliber for Monday Night Raw, and to push him to be the next one. I know that Matt Riddle's, I don't know where is he at, Raw or SmackDown. I have no idea, but I know he's going to challenge him at Money in the Bank. I think it should be Kevin Owens the one, or if not, if Randy comes back, have Randy be the one. That could be another one too. Give Randy his one last run. So, I mean, those are the 3 key players right now, I could say, at this moment for WWE in Monday Night Raw. With Cody out. Brian, on the other hand, I don't know. I'm hoping like how all of you guys said, I hope he comes back on time for Forbidden Door and for the Blood and Guts, and as well for him to be healthy when it comes to the G1 Climax coming up. So I'm hoping he participates, and that's gonna give me give me that Flanders style. I will be happy for sure for that. And CM Punk, man, it sucks being there to knowing that he hurt himself on Dynamite. And it's, man, I wish him a speedy recovery. And I think, which we'll get into right now in a brief moment, but I think, this is now how Matt Callis said this is an opportunity for other stars. But the fortunate part is that a lot of people are not agreeing that this AEW intern should exist. They should really make it more, okay, give me your next champion. Because Tony Khan didn't want CM Punk to relinquish it. CM Punk said he wanted to. Khan said no. So that's why the same with the Cody situation with the TNT belt, why they have 2 belts. I mean, it could work for the MMA, but I don't know if it could work for pro wrestling.
I think there's a reason behind it.
Me too.
Because I think there was something that was put out that made me think that the other day, where they interviewed Hiroshi Tanahashi, and he made the comment that he was looking forward to facing Punk at Forbidden Door, but now that's not going to happen. But he's going to hold that out to the future. And he made I wouldn't say a challenge, but he made basically the statement that once Punk is ready to go, if he is champion, how about Punk come to Japan, wrestle against him at Wrestle Kingdom, and they can still have that match. And if you have Punk as interim champion and then say Tanahashi wins it, you can have a situation where you unify the titles at Wrestle Kingdom.
Ooh,
I like that. I think it would be really good for Tanahashi to hold on to that title too. And it would be a great way to introduce all the AEW fans who don't know New Japan to the brand. Yeah. In addition to leading up to getting a lot of American viewers onto Wrestle Kingdom. And I think it might be the first Wrestle Kingdom that has because up until now, it's still going on right now in Japan. You're not allowed to cheer. It's clapping only right now.
Yeah. Well, right now in the juniors, they actually allowed a little bit cheering.
Yeah, they've been slowly integrating it back to 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm looking forward, and then, like I said, we'll see how. I know, like I said, the intern, does it make sense for you though? Like, should there be an intern champion in professional wrestling? That's the biggest question.
I think it all depends on how long he's going to be out. If he's going to be out for a couple months, then he should have relinquished the title. If it's 60 days, maybe, I'm okay with him holding it still. But I actually have a theory. I don't think CM Punk actually got injured on Dynamite, even though that's where he had a match on Dynamite. But if you look at the end of the match with Hangman, he was already limping.
Yeah, he was
already limping. So going into Dynamite, he probably just injured it even more, or just maybe made it worse. Yeah. So I think that he might have got injured on Dynamite, and that's why I said he did not need to wrestle that matchup so soon. He had a main event pay-per-view matchup, and then less than 4 days later, he's already in the first matchup of Dynamite. It's give the man a promo, let him come out, cut a promo being new champion. He didn't have to wrestle right away. Yeah. So,
we've seen it with WWE where Roman Reigns is working a later schedule. They just put out that he's not going to be working Money in the Bank now, so it's going to be once SummerSlam comes, it's going to be 3 or 4 months since he will have wrestled or defend the belt, which was WrestleMania. So you can't have it to where if he's not going to be out for a couple months, just have him hold it. But I think the big thing was they had a big thing with Forbidden Door. They still wanted a champion to be crowned there or defended there. Yeah. Other than the IWGP. And it was a way for them to make it happen. And it's just unfortunate. But I do when I think of Wrestle Kingdom, they had defended the TNA title at the time on Wrestle Kingdom before.
And the Ring of Honor.
And the Ring of Honor, because I believe Jeff Hardy was the champion and he defended it in Wrestle Kingdom at that time. So it has had happened in the past where New Japan has done that, where they brought in somebody who was working with them to do that. And then I think Kurt Angle was there too. I think he competed on there once too. So
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's going to be something that we will see, and it's a perfect way to do it with the partnership that they're forming now.
I actually like that match at Wrestle Kingdom more than Forbidden Door.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah. That's good shit. That's good shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but then very briefly, WWE. This is the one I want to get everybody to know our thoughts about it. This new Judgment Day. Edge is out. Finn is in. What the fuck is going on? And then I was like, it just caught me off guard. I just did not get it. I'm like, but I like it. I'm not gonna say I actually was
Wonderful.
I was like that. I was wonderful about it because now it's about damn time we see Finn in the main picture and getting the attention. Yeah. Edge, of course, recording the reports that he was not happy about it. He could tell too, because on Raw he was just like, "Fucking assholes! They're gonna cut my faction. They're gonna kick me out." He could tell by his demeanor. He was really sad about it. He was not happy. He's not your typical, usually smiling, evil, like sadistic, Edge. He was just more serious.
Yeah.
So I'll go back to you, Dan. Was this the right move for them to make that decision of getting Edge out and Finn in?
This is the moment where I mentioned earlier where with Cody Rhodes getting hurt, I felt like something dramatic was going to happen. You lose your top babyface at the time. There was kind of an argument if it was Bobby Lashley or Cody Rhodes, but Cody Rhodes worked his way to the top with how they've been kind of booking Lashley the past couple of months with Omos. But you lose that guy, and I think they made like a rush move. And on top of that, like you said, he didn't agree with some of the reports where they wanted to add like a supernatural guy to the group or something like that. But I think this was their way of switching him from a heel to a face, get him out of the group. You can have Edge as the top babyface now, probably for a while, feuding with the Judgment Day, but kicking him out. You could get a little bit of personality and use out of Finn Balor like he was when he was with the Bullet Club. You could kind of bring back a little bit of that like personality in him since he hasn't done that in probably 4 or 5, 6 years since joining NXT and WWE. Actually use him the right way and actually have him as like a top guy or close to the top. I think that's what they were thinking with this. And they made like a judgment call, aka Judgment Day. And when I watched it first, I was like streaming a little bit, and I had it on mute, and I saw what happened, and I kind of almost messed up the stream because I'm looking over and I see what happened without the sound. I had to go back and watch it to see that he was talking to Priest, and Priest didn't do anything, and then he looks at Finn, and then I believe Priest punches him and knocks him down, and I'm like, what is going on? Why is this happening? Because like you said, he didn't look all like grinny and everything. He just looked mad and not there. And it sucks that this only lasted 2 months with Edge in it. It was supposed to be this big thing, Edge in the group. You name it after basically a pay-per-view that he was like the face of years ago in Judgment Day. And here you go, taking it away 2 months in. So I have to wait and see how it grows out over time. It was just at the beginning, I was just a little confused, but a little excited also.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. De Niro, take it away.
I don't know. I totally agree. Like, I'm not mad at it at all. Like, I have to see how it plays out. I just wish, like, the circumstances were a little different. I feel like this was one of the highlights of WWE in the last couple months. Judgment Day has been awesome. It gave me, like, kind of vibes of like Ministry of Darkness. And I kept on saying on my podcast how I feel like Edge is channeling like his like early stages of his career with Judgment Day and some of like the darker stuff he's doing, being that he was in the Brood and he was in the Ministry. So I was really enjoying it. I just, I'm tossed up because it is, I feel like too soon to take Edge out of that equation. But I also do like Finn Balor being in a prominent spot. I've been begging for WWE to do something with Finn Balor. I think that there could have been another way of going about it. Like maybe have Finn join and then have Finn like slowly start to like turn them against Edge, and then eventually you get the big like reveal that Finn is the new leader. Having it so soon like this, it was a little weird because they just wrestled. Like Finn Balor took a lot of the ass whipping on that pay-per-view of the Judgment Day. So like, where does that make sense that you had Damian Priest and Edge? Well, not Edge, but Damian Priest was taking it to Finn a lot of that match, and now all of a sudden they're on the same side. It was a little weird. I feel like it was like a quick way to get a top babyface because Cody is going to be on the injured list. So yeah, like I said, I'm happy for Finn. I'm not mad at the decision. I just wish that we had more of the Judgment Day with Edge as the leader for a little longer. Because if you think about it, the team only really started the night after WrestleMania. That was 2 months ago. So
yeah,
I think that this team could have had a lot of longevity, at least for another year. Like, you could have went a long time. I thought someone with like Damian Priest being under the tutelage of Edge was very similar to someone like Sammy Guevara being under Chris Jericho in the Inner Circle. Like, you have the young guy who had all the talent in the world, but not taking that next step, working with the Hall of Famer as like his man. Like, it would have took him to that next level. Not saying that it won't take him to that next level as an opponent. I just thought that having him partnered up with Edge made him more of a big deal. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I just wish that we had more time with the Judgment Day.
Indeed. Matt Callis, I know that you don't really watch it, but it's Finn. It's your boy. You tell me.
Man, it's good to have Finn in that position, though. Just he's great. He's great to be there, and I mean, he's such a headliner. What else can I say? You know.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of you guys. It's just Finn being underrated for me as a headliner because of his attributes, but it also as well just something fresh. I would like to see. Yeah, like I'm with you, Mike, and I'm with you. Then like I want to see what's gonna happen. What is where is it gonna get to? Are they gonna add someone else in? So now I can say, for once, I will be tuning in to Monday Night Raw. Once I saw the highlights, I'm like, what? Okay, now I have to tune in. And I can't stay there for 3 hours and watch it. I can't do that. I can do that for anything else, but not for Raw.
And here's the thing that I just thought of. What happens to that feud between AJ and Edge? Because that was the main part of this whole feud, was them two going at it. But now they're both going to be good guys, as it seems right now. So I thought maybe you could have moved AJ Styles into that top babyface because he's worked that way before. He's got the crowd on his side. He sells a lot of merchandise with everything. But how are they going to work that? Are they just going to act like that whole feud never existed between the two? Or are they going to kind of like, okay, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type situation?
WWE does that shit too much. I'm going to be pissed if Edge starts teaming up with AJ Styles. After all that shit they went through, fuck that.
Like I hope they don't do that shit
for real.
I know a lot of people, when I commented, they're like, "Oh no, it doesn't make any sense." AJ joining, I don't care. I wouldn't mind. It's something different. Why the hell not? I mean, it's unique. It's different. It's fresh. Yes, I know nobody wants to see like a Bullet Club because of like how it's running right now. Yeah. But WWE needs that attraction. Unfortunately, they need that. They need those 3 hours to mean something. They need those demographics within those 3 hours. So they'll pull the trigger on anything how they pull this one. So they have no other option. So I mean, that's up to me. I mean,
it's just crazy. You got in both AEW and WWE, you got Roman, who's working a lighter schedule as champion, so he's barely on it right now. He's trying to work like, I guess, a part-time schedule. You got Cody, he's hurt. And then on the other side, Kenny Omega has been out since October because of surgery, and now you got CM Punk out. So that's 4 big people out on both the big shows. So now you're going to have to start seeing how they work the shows with these talent. And that's where, just like Maddie said, now you're going to see how all that talent on AEW, how they kind of rise up, and you see somebody get an opportunity that doesn't normally happen. Kind of like right now, Kyle O'Reilly, who's going to be fighting that. Well, he was, but he got an opportunity to. that we didn't think he would have normally.
Absolutely. Yeah. And now that you brought that up, it is about time. And you already know what time it is. And that is Dynamite! That is right. It is time for some Dynamite. As we'll be recapping some Dynamite right here, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get in it. Let's get it on with Dynamite. So let's start off with opening, of course, the Casino Battle Royale. I'm still surprised he still uses this concept. Get me wrong. It's okay. I'm not saying it's best, but it's okay. It's something unique and different that you really don't see in a Battle Royal. Because you normally have everybody at the same time in, it's not like the Royal Rumbles or difference of it. And of course, the winner was Kyle O'Reilly, who wins. Dan mentioned it. I know everybody was pretty pissed off. Everybody was just, was upset. There was no Adam Cole, like you mentioned earlier, because Eagle was injured. Now we knew about it earlier today. No Bryan Danielson, no Miro, no Wardlow. No Jay Lethal, like nobody really top stars. I'm not disrespecting the other stars that were involved, but it was just, nobody. I mean, it was just unexpected that we didn't see none of these, names that I'm naming in that Battle Royale, and I'm pretty sure there's a reason for that. But I'll start with you, Daniel. What were your thoughts when your reaction about the participants and Kyle O'Reilly winning?
No lie, I actually thought that he was going to win it. I just I was throwing in like a curveball, as Manny would say. I threw a curveball out there when I was thinking about who they would have win it. And he's wrestled New Japan before. He's fought that style. He has an MMA background, that just that close combat style. And I thought it would work well with Moxley in the main event. So I'm like, let me throw something out there, because all the guys that I'm thinking of that should win it, or somebody else thinks will win it, are going to wind up being in other storylines anyway. They wind up talking about Wardlow not wanting to win it yet because he wants to take it from Punk, so take him out. Adam Cole, we'll talk about that in a second with what he's doing with Hangman. So that kind of showcased that. And then the only one that really was weird was Jay Lethal on them. I thought they would still been in it, but I thought this made for a good match even with it. I just didn't get why you would make, of course, Andrade the Joker, or why it mattered. Why didn't you just throw everybody in there and then maybe just had him show up surprisingly, because of course he just got married. But it showcased a lot of these guys in a good way. Like Kyle O'Reilly looked good. Wheeler Yuta coming back. This is his first time back from the Super Juniors. I thought he was one of the unsung heroes of the Battle Royale. You had like Swerve using the Swerve name, throwing out two guys that I thought he was working with, and he would just throw them out. I thought that little thing with him and Keith Lee was great. I think something will work with that in the future. I thought it was a good match. I just think Tony Khan can't help himself with the Casino Battle Royale. I think not having it in the pay-per-view, he had to do whatever he could to make the match happen. And this was his perfect chance to do it. But I thought it was a good match, and I thought having O'Reilly win was a good choice.
Oh, man, I'm pretty sure you're right. He had a plan B. He probably laid it out very quick, and then at the end.
Let's fucking go.
There you go. Let's fucking go. Let's go, TK. Let's go. De Niro, take it away, my brother.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the concept of the Casino Battle Royal. It makes it different than any other Battle Royal. And I was hoping when they announced that it was a Battle Royal that it was going to be the Casino Battle Royal, just because it makes it stretch it out. You can really showcase the stars instead of having just everybody in the ring once, just rumbling. It always makes more sense to have entrances and make these guys get the pop when they come out, because you really build up their star power. If you had all these stars in the ring and they just started out with all of them in the ring, like they've had before, they had regular battle royals, you take away a little bit from who's in the ring until you get to the final 5, the final 4, and you can really see the landscape. So I actually was happy, and it wasn't even a Casino Battle Royal until earlier in the day when he was on I think Busted Open Radio, and he announced. I like the matchup. There definitely was a lot of stars in it. You know, there was stars missing, but there was a lot of stars in it. You had Darby, you had Kingston, you had Lance Archer was nice to see because we haven't seen Archer in a while. I thought it was really awesome when Wheeler Yuta came out and during the match he had a huge crowd reaction. So that shows that like he's really getting over and the fans are really appreciating him. And I'm happy Kyle O'Reilly won. I really thought that after he beat Darby Allin at the pay-per-view that Kyle O'Reilly deserved a singles shot. He needed to be next up. And I feel like if CM Punk was still around, there would be a lot of people at that top where Kyle O'Reilly may would have had to wait a little bit for that, you know, world title shot or that opportunity to be in the main event. So this was a situation where it's next man up and who's going to step up. I feel like Kyle O'Reilly definitely stepped up, but I feel like this was something that they were building towards. Like he said, he did have a singles victory against Jungle Boy. He did have a singles victory against Darby Allin. That's 2 of the 4 pillars. So it's not like they haven't been building him up as singles, and it's not like this came out of left field. So I think that was really smart that he won. As for the Joker, I did not expect it to be Andrade. I thought it was going to be Roosh because Roosh just signed. We haven't seen him wrestle yet. He wasn't on last week's Dynamite. And you have usually Joker, somebody coming in or make their debut. So having it Andrade, I like Andrade. I thought that it was cool, but not to even show Roosh. Maybe Roosh should have been out there. He could have helped Andrade eliminate somebody. Like, it's weird. You have this guy on the pay-per-view and then you don't even mention him for like the last 2 weeks. So I don't know. I thought that they could have had a better Joker. And that's coming from an Andrade fan. I love Andrade. But
right. Los Ingobernables. Damn it, Los Ingobernables. That's right. Mr. Matty Cyberfight. There you go. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I got to say that new belts, new championships, and people dropping champion. When new belts create more questions rather than more. It's like you wanted more answers, but instead you got more questions. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. Now I want you to answer them immediately. Who is your daddy and what does he do? Basically it really it came down to this though, because they did tease him on the pay-per-view on Double or Nothing. Roosh was teased. He was already, the people already know he's there. So what better place to put Roosh? You know, the guy standing next to Andrade, the guy, I don't know what he's got going on. Was he in CMLL? Did he have other commitments that night? I don't know if any of you guys know if he had it.
He did get interviewed and he said he's going to be, it's not like a 4-time schedule that he's going to be working. It's going to be more of like a in between part-time and 4-time. It's going to be somewhere in between there.
Sporadic.
It's sporadic, but like he's still talking to him, working with them. He still wants to work other avenues too. But I'm not sure if he's fully healthy yet. I think he's just about. I think using him there was just to promote that he's there. And I thought what would have been great would have been to still have Andrade in it, but then have Roosh come out to help him.
That would be good.
Time.
Yeah,
like people would get excited for that, and I guess the absence, you point out the absence of Jay Lethal. That's another one. But then again, we know in the independent wrestling world, because AEW is just like the gateway to independent wrestling in the USA, indies on TV. A lot of these guys could be wrestling on, an indie promotion show. There's so many nowadays. So many, countless. So you don't know who's going to show up and who can't because of an indie wrestling promotion event. So it really comes down to that. Overall, I'll honestly say I was a bit disappointed, but I will say that the plus side of not having individual entrance themes for every single person, because I know there was a few people that came out in groups or that didn't get airtime for their entrance. When you do that, if that could set up a really fun, surprising upset win for somebody in the near future, winning their battle royale. Like, imagine if it's a guy who comes in as one of the guys in the group, he wins, and bam, that's a star in one night. make you a celebrity overnight, you know, just like Twista, celebrity overnight, you know. There you go.
And there you go. I was really happy about this, honestly. I think it was how you said, Dan, and you know, it gives now attention to the new stars to step it up and see who will step it up. I did like the Swerve, especially him, and then did not expect him to turn on Keith Lee. I was like, what the fuck just happened? But I was intrigued. Okay, now we're gonna, because Swerve, you know, he is like the devious one. Don't try to take my devious one, Swerve, all right? Because I'm the only devious one here. But I do like that. And then one thing too, during the Battle Royale, I don't know if everybody's caught Daniel Garcia get that powerbomb. I think, I don't know if it was from Kingston or from Swerve, somebody, but it looked like he landed on his head. It looked really bad. I was like, oh, Jesus.
We don't need no more injuries, please.
Yes, no more injuries. For favor. And I was with the crowd. The crowd wanted Eddie. Me too. I wanted Eddie. Why not? I think it's about time we see Eddie get his shot and, you know, be a champion. I would have been very.
I agree. Eddie. We need Eddie.
And he had that nice promo later on in the show. To promote Rampage. So that was nice. I also liked how when they have Where Are You to come out, he came out and he got attacked right away by Garcia, and it kind of enforced him right back into the fold into that JAS and Black Combat slash Eddie Kingston feud. And he came in there and he was going at them. And then he gets hit by what's his name?
Jake Hager.
Jake Hager.
Yeah.
I always forget his name. And at the end, those two throw out Eddie Kingston, but as they throw him out, Where Yuta comes in and tosses Jake Hager out. So it infuses him back into there. So when they do the blood and guts, he's there as an option to put into that match now. Because I mentioned it in the chat last week where he made the comment on New Japan that he was like, "I'll see you guys soon. Chris Jericho, I'm coming to fuck you up." And he made that comment.
Yes, I remember that.
And I just chuckled, listened to that. I'm like, I got to see him come back in and get into this feud because he adds a little bit of youth to that feud where you have a lot of older guys there. And then say Bryan Danielson can't wrestle, you got an option there in Where Yuta. Even though I like that whole Eddie Kingston, Bryan Danielson kind of like tug of war power trip there between the two of them.
Oh, definitely, yes. And I was expecting, I would have been shocked if Andrade would have won. Which I wouldn't mind, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind seeing an Andrade and Moxley match. I would not mind that either, because I mean, mind you, Andrade, his physique and his agility as well, it's fantastic. And another underrated star. I mean, we all know his credentials from being La Sombra and Ring of Honor, CMLL, and New Japan. We all know how this guy is so agile. He's able to move. It's just unfortunate that he didn't win. But I was still happy regardless that Kyle O'Reilly got his chance. He got a shot. Yeah. We'll get into that main event about that one. But I was really happy about it. I know a lot of people were not happy, the names that were not in this Battle Royale. But it is about time. Who's going to reach that brass ring, damn it? Who's going to get that brass ring? Who's going to shine for the 15 minutes of fame on national television on all over the platforms of the world? Who's that going to be? And this is the opportunity now for how – let me remind you something. Remember when Punk said in a post-conference with Khan, we try to work everything out. Hey, let's try to build these stars. We want to give them the time, and we're working on that. Well, guess what? I'm not saying that, with Punk, being out, this is not the time to step up. Mm-hmm. Everybody now, and I'm not speaking of just the former NXT or WWE or Ring of Honor stars. It's about the first pack trio. I mean, the first rosters in AEW. It's time for them to step up, like Darby has. He just step up more. Is he championship material? So, that's another thing. So names like those that are AEW originals when they first started, it was 3 years ago. Now time to step it up. Now we have to wait and see. And then that's why, I'm looking forward of what's going to happen heading into Forbidden Door. And then after, what's going to happen after is the biggest question. So I mean, it's the main event spotlight is there. Question is, who's going to step up and take it?
Word.
Yeah, and the thing with Roosh, a thing that just popped in my head, maybe they're saving him for a Ring of Honor because they got all these guys with Ring of Honor that they're just sitting at home because they got a pay-per-view that they're supposed to have next month, the middle of July that they want to run. And then you got Tony Khan who's looking to run Ring of Honor like it just was, but of course under the AEW banner. So maybe he's saving him for maybe like just as like a man, like not a manager, but a guy, like a brute guy for Andrade with AEW, but then he wrestles on Ring of Honor because we all know him from Ring of Honor. Both guys basically met there with Los Inhables de Mexico, where they were original members there before Andrade went to NXT.
Right.
He made the move there. So maybe that's something that they're doing with Roosh where they're just not wasting him because they have plans for him with Ring of Honor.
Okay, you're right. It could be the case.
I also think that if Roosh was in that match, he would have had to win because he was a big star coming in, and you don't want him to win because then if he wins and then beats Moxley on his first night, like it would have been too much too soon. And for people who need to be introduced to Roosh, they might have like fell off with that because they don't know who he is, and all of a sudden he's coming in and beating everybody. Here, they still have the opportunity to not rush it, introduce him the right way, show us some video packages, have Excalibur explain who he is and his credentials, and then we could have him on, Dynamite, have a matchup, maybe a tag match with Andrade. So it's all about doing it the right way. Just because this was a last minute thing doesn't mean you have to like push all your stars. Yeah. Which also like is another thing like about the stars that was not in the show. I mean, not in this matchup. You still had a show to do. This wasn't the main event. So you still needed like, because I saw people saying like, oh, Pac was in the next match. Pac could have been in the Battle Royal. You can't have everybody wrestling twice. Like you still have a full show to do after this match. So you had to have your stars on the rest of the show.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed with that 100%. Yeah, we're so, spoiled, like, and I'm talking about everybody in the community. We're spoiled.
100%.
But, we have to, in us being podcasters and being professional wrestling marks, we understand and we get now people that us, and I'm not disrespecting everybody else, but there's an understanding to it why they didn't head that towards that direction. It makes sense, and so 100%. I'm not mad about it. At first, I wasn't gonna lie, like, damn it, I want but then looking at it and analyzing it, it makes sense. So
things make sense when you take a step back.
Yeah, indeed, especially a step back. Let's go ahead and step into the revelation of this new championship belt. And let me go ahead and I have a picture of it. So might as well just put up here. And there you have it. The AEW All-Atlantic Champion. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And who will be fighting for the bracket will be, of course, in the tournament. But, of course, Buddy Matthews, Pac. Of course, we'll get into that match right now. Ethan Page and Miro. Bento Escudo and Malachi Black, and 2 stars from New Japan, which I will be asking you, gentlemen, very shortly, who should that be? But let's get into the match. First of all, let's get into the championship belt, first of all. But I know a lot of people, I guarantee, even myself too, I was...
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
No. I ain't doing that shit.
That's right. Everybody was that way. Everybody, because everybody was expecting the Trios title. We all been speaking about the Trios title for quite some time.
Yeah.
And mind you, once again, to refresh, and I know Matt, who's more of a historical than I am, that's why he's called Mr. 69 for a reason. All Atlantic, for God's sakes. Okay, the Atlantic. Why is Japan and China flags are there if they're in the Pacific Coast? They're not in the Atlantic Coast. Why is it there? I mean, I hate to, and
they should imagine if they had the Pangea Championship or something like that. It's like, oh no, there's no Atlantic. It's BC.
I haven't heard that word since school.
Oh my god, Pangea, the super continent.
have all the continents together on the
Yeah. The Pacific and the Atlantic were the same when the plates were connected.
That's all like, I just don't get it. Like, why would you call it that? Like I said, I didn't want. I'm gonna digress and just get my out of the way very brief. It's just that I hate to say this, and I never agree with him on a lot of shit. And that's of course Uncle Seltzer. He has about a point. And I would have called it an international title. If you wanted to make this your intercontinental title or some type of European title, call it. Don't put that all Atlantic. It does not make any sense. I mean,
I'd be okay with them just using Intercontinental again. If New Japan's got an Intercontinental, why not? Why not?
Yeah, it's not like anybody else is using an Intercontinental title right now.
That is very true. Agreed, right? Because what's gonna do? What's Vince gonna do? Vince gonna try to sue them? Like
New Japan. Vince can't. Like Vince isn't suing New Japan. So.
He can't sue New Japan.
I don't even think Vince knows who his Intercontinental Champion is right now.
The last it hasn't been defended on a pay-per-view since last WrestleMania. So
there's a lot.
There's a lot to it, and I mean,
you could have even played it. You could have played it up as New Japan gifted them their IC title.
That would be cool.
You could have played it off that way because they got rid of it because they wanted to combine them. But you could have did a storyline behind that and just been like, here you go.
All they have to do is make maybe the leather strap white, just to kind of have a relationship with it.
This just gave me European title vibes here.
Yeah,
but with international, I was like, are they trying to bring in the European title here, but have it like more international? Like, I just didn't get it, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go and roll with it.
I was thinking about this while I was driving because I was like, Atlantic includes like South America and Africa. So, I mean, if we get like African and South American and Central American wrestlers competing for the title, that would be kind of cool. Like, some more Brazilian and West African wrestlers. A Nigerian competing in AEW, that'd be really cool. Nigerian wrestler.
It just made no sense with Japan there, like and New Zealand and Australia.
The Seven Seas Championship.
Half the field doesn't even touch the Atlantic Ocean.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. That's why I'm. Oh my god!
If you
want to say all Pacific, like I would have felt better with that. At least a majority of your opponents would have touched that Pacific Ocean. But it's like
I think they just want the alliteration.
Yeah.
All Arctic Championship, man. Like just it touches all the continents up there.
Personally, I hate the name, but like I like the concept. I like the concept of international wrestlers come in and I like the belt, the design, like old school flags. I think that's cool. I think that we may not even see this title much on AEW television. I think that this is a title that gets defended in other companies, other continents, and we may see, like, for example, I wouldn't be opposed to the first winner being whoever in New Japan is in this match, because then you can have that matchup. You could show when that belt's being defended on AEW Dynamite. If you remember, when Global Force Wrestling merged with Impact Wrestling? They were showing other, like, they were showing NOAH matches. They were showing AAA matches. You could show when this belt is defended. You could show that as a match on Dynamite, which I think would be cool. But I'm not opposed to it. I had some feelings about it. I really wanted trios titles, but I think that now that I thought about it, I don't really mind them not having trios titles in AEW, because if you remember, there is Ring of Honor trios titles. So if you want to make the Ring of Honor product unique and not an AEW light, then that's how you make it different. They have the trios titles over there. And then if you have a plethora of AEW wrestlers that are in trios, they could go wrestle for those titles in Ring of Honor, which also helps Ring of Honor when AEW talent is on their show. So I think that maybe that's why. It would have been a little redundant if you had trios titles for both Ring of Honor and AEW. So I'm not mad at them having trios titles.
Makes sense.
Quick question for Maddie. Isn't the Never Openweight title kind of like the same concept what New Japan was trying to do, where they were trying to have like a foreigner come in, and that was one of the titles that they could go for the one that Tama Tonga has now.
It's like they keep like New Japan probably has like the most singles titles I knew about at one time, but now AEW is competing for that. It's like we're gonna just keep making titles, baby.
Yeah, well, there's that, and then I remember you had the British Championship defended there all the time.
Yeah,
too.
Rev Pro,
Pro, but especially when Zack Sabre Jr. was the champion, but now. They really haven't done that ever now.
Is Will Ospreay still the champion?
He is still
the longest reigning defending champion, man.
Yeah, there was theories that he was supposed to drop it at the last big show, but then he had the appendicitis, and the show was supposed to be last week, so he still has it, of course. I think the plan was for him to drop it soon, but it makes me think maybe this is something where both, like I said before, both organizations start doing this. For maybe, like you said, maybe a New Japan guy wins it and then he could defend it there, and then it's like a gate thing to have some AEW guys come over to New Japan and have a reason behind it. Yeah.
So instead of just like random New Japan guys just popping up, like what has been going on. Also, I think that this is a good backup plan just in case the whole merger with Discovery and Warner does not work out. And like, it wouldn't make sense if AEW, say in a year or two, has to go to another channel and they have a TNT title or a TBS title. You know what I mean? Yeah. So here you could kind of like drop that belt, retire that belt, or even merge that belt into this, and you could have your secondary belt already there instead of having to make a new belt. So I think that it's a good like backup title just in case the plan doesn't work out with Warner Brothers or whatever.
I was kind of wondering if there was shade on the TNT title, just because like some people are getting sick of the storyline or whatever. It was like, oh, I'm sick of Sammy. I'm sick of Scorpio Sky. Let's make a new title. Like I was joking about
instead of just fixing the TNT title, let's just make a new title. Let them do their thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in my head.
Even though I'll give it to them, they're defending it all the time. It's getting used. Where you have some titles that aren't even being defended or used, but this one is getting defended, I guess, too much.
It's guys, you know what this kind of reminds me of? It's like something from The Simpsons. Like whenever they trash a city, they just build another city and move to it.
It could be that way. That's very true. But here's a question for all of you guys, though. Who should be the participants in this tournament?
I feel like it got to be top stars.
Hiroki Goto, please give him a title.
He's already competing already.
Yeah, he's competing against.
I wouldn't mind if we see this is where we see Naito, because if you think about who's going to be in that matchup, I see Miro beating Ethan Page. I see.
Sorry, you said Naito. I'm crazy.
I agree.
Yeah, I see Malachi beating Penta. So if you have Pac, Miro, Malachi, and Naito in a four-way, that matchup looks insane. Also, this is a little like off the New Japan topic, but I think that it's for sure that Miro is going to beat Ethan Page. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see Miro in the same match with Pac, because Miro had a statement when he first got signed to AEW that he's willing to wrestle anybody in AEW besides Pac, because Pac injured him in the WWE and he was not going to step in the ring with him. So I think it's kind of interesting if these two have like some bad blood and they step in the same ring together.
I got a really good one. Togi Makabe. He's a former IWGP champion, and
that is
be really cool.
Yeah.
Be really
that
cool.
Could be a cool concept, yeah.
I got a name Yoshihashi.
Oh,
Taichi would also
be that. Yeah.
You know, I got not a curveball, but I guess this is a Matt 69 facts moment. If it's Taichi, for those of if you guys don't know, Taichi's song is by a band is by this band called Ma de Moi. They're a Japanese like goth visual kei band, and I saw them at Anime Expo a long time ago. I think back in like 2012, and yeah, they're called Ma de Moi. I'll spell it out in the chat. It's like French. But like they're like a goth band, and it'll be like the first time like Japanese goth music has been heard on like American television. So if we get Taichi there, that would be sick, and him singing with the microphone and everything. So Taichi would be pretty cool. I don't know
because I don't think Yoshihashi is doing anything on Dominion that big. So it makes me think that if you're going to have that happen, that you got to have maybe two guys that aren't really invested into a storyline for Dominion, or maybe afterwards. So I'm like, he's at least a big name in Japan that you can use. And then it's like, and then you throw somebody else, and then there's always been rumblings with Naito, because you've been always having Hiromu getting put on in the Super Juniors winner, and it's always been that question: when are they going to move him up like they did Will Ospreay? Because once it happens, he's going to start overshadowing Naito, because a lot of fans, merch-wise, love Takahashi. They love him over there. They eat him up, and it's just, I thought he was going to get pushed up last year because he put on weight, and kind of like I said, Ospreay did. He put on weight and slowly moved to heavyweight. I think this is the time where you're going to start seeing him making that transition. So it gives Naito something to do during that time, because I don't think after him losing 3 times to Okada that he really has no direction right now, and this gives him some sort of direction for a while.
It makes sense.
I agree with that.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And heck, might as well have Wrestling Golden Knowledge trios. Have him and Naito and Rouge and Andrade. I gotta do it again. I have to, damn it. It's just like,
that would be very formidable. That would be a very formidable team.
I just hope that for this tournament itself, I hope that we don't see nobody that we already seen on AEW television, just to keep it fresh. Like, as much as I like Minoru Suzuki, as much as I like Tomohiro Ishii, I don't want them to be in this tournament just because I want to see some fresh faces from New Japan in AEW.
Absolutely. And one thing I also want to say, no New Japan Strong. It has to be from Japan.
Yeah,
I mean, I love Strong, but give us one from Japan.
I like how they're kind of keeping that kind of separate. Like they just announced that they got the tag titles that they're incorporating into that with the open weight title. I like what they're doing there. It's separate. It's kind of like a separate brand, kind of like what Ring of Honor is going to be for AEW. I love the whole concept. It just doesn't make sense to be like, okay, we're going to bring somebody over from Strong into this. Like, watch them go do this and be like, oh, here you go. Here's Killer Cross into this match for no reason at all under this New Japan flag. It just doesn't make sense when you can get somebody from the main flagship of New Japan, and it would mean something a lot more.
I think we're safe though, because New Japan Strong has their own logo. And if you see, like, we have like the regular New Japan logo in like the brackets. So I think we're going to get 2 guys from the main New Japan show.
Indeed. I cannot wait, man. I'm excited. And I was excited for this match too. The first rounds, Pac versus Buddy Matthews. The last time these individuals met was 205, I would say, or NXT. I mean,
I think they wrestled once for the cruiserweight title.
Yes. And I gotta say, I mean, this match was
such good shit.
And it was good shit, damn it. I want to say it right now because it was good shit. I really enjoyed it, and it's great to see the chemistry. I like how these two individuals, it's like when you have your Ospreay and Ricochet, and it's like, this is your pocket buddy. Who else I can really say who has the type of, of a chemistry like that? Like the Lucha Bros, the Young Bucks, for example, that chemistry. I like that. It's just everything.
I know in WWE, Malachi and Buddy had great chemistry.
Yes,
with
indeed.
the 2-3 matches that they had there, and then it was always talked about how good Buddy Matthews was when he did that match with Roman Reigns on SmackDown. That's what got him a lot of rave reviews, was that one match once they actually called him up. So it's like I like to see him wrestle solo more, even as still like a part of House of Black. Just have him wrestle more solo.
Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, man,
so excited for this.
You were so excited for the match. I was too, man.
The moment I heard that Buddy Matthews, I was about to say Murphy. Damn. The moment I heard that Buddy Matthews was signed by AEW, the first match that came to mind was I want to see him mix it up with Pac, because I don't think they wrestled in 205 Live. If you remember, Buddy Matthews came to 205 Live when Pac left, and they had that tournament, right? So Pac was already gone when they had the tournament that brought Buddy Matthews up from NXT to 205 Live. So I think they're like two boats that just like passed in the night. So it was cool to see these guys like step in the ring together. I think they may have had a match in NXT when was it when Matthews was with the other dude, Weston Blake. Tag team. They might have had a tag match maybe, but for them to like develop to who they are today and have a match in this like style, it was really cool to see this. And I thought that this was a great like last minute addition to the card, and their chemistry was amazing too. I would like to see this like get ran back.
Oh yeah, definitely. Man, Matt Callis, what about yourself?
My God, it's anytime I get the chance to see the red arrow or the black arrow, anytime I get to see that finisher, you know, is always a special treat. And a lot of the reversals, very, very extreme. You know, if anything, I wouldn't mind seeing a 2 out of 3 falls rematch with these two. You know, I always ask for it. Here's another thing I always ask from AEW, from Santa Tony Khan Santa. Is I always ask for, give me something kind of similar to Hell in a Cell, like the AEW equivalent, where you could put them in a roofed cage 1-on-1. And because I think you get some really cool, like extreme, like that. I think that's like the penultimate 1-on-1 kind of, you know, you lock them in the cage, you know. Yeah. Rage in the cage, penis in your anus, you know. There you go.
But Pocket's one of those guys where I was like, man, I wish he was in the Best of the Super Juniors, and they used him there, because that's a guy who would have so much to offer to that. Like, I want to see him go over to New Japan and compete with some of these guys over there.
Pac versus Hiromu.
Yeah, Pac versus Hiromu. We've already. As we already saw Buddy Matthews wrestle Okada over in Cali. We've seen that, and that was a good match. So we know that he can wrestle some of the best in New Japan. And then you see this match here. It's like it gives you something to desire for the future. Like, man, if you put that title on him, now we can see what he can do over there. Like, it might not happen, but if you can have Pac just go over there with the title and defend it, or say whoever wins it. Say one of the guys from Japan wins it. You got Pac go over there, cut a promo that he wants to challenge for the title, and then he does it over there in Japan. Woo!
That'd be very intriguing. Very intriguing.
Oh my God, man! Dad is on a road today. You gotta give him
what I want.
Give him what he wants, Dem. That's right. Give it. I love it. Yes. And I'll have to play it, of course, because where the fuck is he at? Damn you, Leo. Where are you? There.
I love it.
There you go. All right. And then we get, of course, Matt's excited for this because we did get the segment for it. The FTR and Trent segment. And, of course, somebody showed up. He finally showed up after all this fucking time. That is, of course, Will Ospreay. He made his debut in AEW, and I know the United Empire was there, and I know Matt was, and I know besides that,
here. There's no shame. It's me.
Yeah, it's him. It's him.
No shame.
It's Will Ospreay.
No, God.
Oh no. I'm pretty sure you went everywhere. But Matt Candace, I'm gonna let you take it away here in this one, man. What was your thoughts, your excitement about it when you basically saw Will Ospreay in AEW?
Two of the biggest takeaways are, now we've had every single faction leader in New Japan except for two, Okada and Naito. Those two are now inevitable, though, I gotta say, because they've been mentioned a lot. They've been mentioned a lot by AEW talent to come in. But overall, you got the leader of United Empire, you got the leader of Suzuki-kun, you got the leader of Bullet Club, you got the leader of Hontai, that's Tanahashi. That's everybody who's not in a faction, that's Hontai. It's what Kevin Kelly calls it, what a lot of other people call it, Hontai. And of course, you know, I mean, House of Torture, but I just think of them as like an offshoot kind of That's like the other group.
That's kind of what the Elite was when they're in Bullet Club, and you had them, the Fire Squad, and all that. It's like a
sub.
Yeah.
The sub group. So we've had like leaders of almost of every single faction. But here's the other thing: you get so many dream
matches. On April Serrato, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it.
Well, Ospreay creates dream matches, I gotta say, and one of them that's kind of knocking right on the door. Here's one I want right away. Now that, with Danielson and CM Punk out of the picture, there's room for this dream match to happen. And if I can't get Tetsuya Naito versus Samoa Joe, my other one on my ordering list will be Will Ospreay Samoa Joe, because I know that'll be pretty cool. That's gonna. We got Moxley Will Ospreay. I had a lot of fun watching that match. And I had a lot of fun with Brian Cage, Will Ospreay. So I think in time, Will Ospreay. There's a lot of dream matches we haven't seen yet that we want to see, and I think Will Ospreay will help make that happen.
Yeah, because I believe we've already seen him and Adam Cole in Japan briefly. They had 1 or 2 matches that I watched the other day. So I was thinking that, but then I was like, oh, we've already had that. So
I guess you could get a different version of it, because I mean,
they both grew so much since then.
Yeah.
All right. Big Dan, take it away. What are your thoughts? Will Ospreay
it was just a matter of time. I kind of wore this on purpose, for it. Like, I've been looking for the New Japan one that they came out with, but because I don't know, I can't read Japanese on the website that I did, so I just had this one on. It was just an inevitable. He's talked about in the past how like all of his friends went to WWE, and then he came out with that documentary that I watched on Amazon Prime. That was amazing. How like he just wanted to wrestle. New Japan gave him the platform, and he's kind of grown away from WWE, even with all his friends over there at the time. And now, ironically, 90% of them are in AEW or not in WWE anymore. But now he's created his own platform. He's talked to Tony Khan and whatnot, and he said that it doesn't hurt him. Like, they're a brand new thing, so he has nothing against them. He feels the no pressure going over there, wrestling time to time there. The partnership, it gives him another platform because he does Rev Pro on top of New Japan, and he works the indie scene a lot. Like, he just wants to wrestle. He wants to hone his craft. He wants to become a big name to kind of just show that WWE missed on the chance of getting him just because they thought he was too flashy of a guy, even though they brought in a lot of guys like him in the past. And now he's bulked up. He's kind of switched how he wrestles now, because he's bigger. He doesn't do all of those crazy flips anymore. He's added a lot of ground moves to his repertoire. And he's built himself even more at creating a stable. And I think it's going to be great to see where they take it with them and what he does. I think this was more so to build up the FTR, Roppongi Vice, and then Jeff Cobb, Great Khan, because I think they wanted to make sure that they're in Japan for the tag title match, and a way to still like keep it going was to have Ospreay come in, Ozzy Open come in from behind to help him out. And then it gives FTR and Trent something to do while Rocky Ramirez and the other two are in Japan.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed, 100%. De Niro, what are your thoughts?
I thought that it was awesome to finally see Will Ospreay in AEW. It was only a matter of time, like everyone said. I think that this was the right place, right time, though, because we do have a lot of injuries and a lot of big stars not on this show. So how do you make up for that? You get one of the biggest wrestlers in the world to debut on your show, So it was a great timing for it. I hope that this is something that goes beyond Forbidden Door. I would love to see Will Ospreay in a lot of matches in AEW. So it would be awesome if he's like a semi-regular person here. I know that when AEW first started, Chris Jericho was talking to Will Ospreay and trying to get him in AEW. Yes. I remember him saying that on his podcast that was one of the guys that he thought that AEW should go after. But Will Ospreay definitely had a vision for his character and what he wanted to do with New Japan, and it was cool that he got to play that out. And now it's the best of both worlds because he could do both. So it's such a different world now where everybody's working together, and there's so many possibilities of having top guys from other companies here in AEW and then go over to New Japan. It's really awesome to see Will Ospreay, and not only to see Will Ospreay, but he was already booked for a match. He's already in Rampage. Like that was awesome to see too. Like they're not waiting to put a big name like Will Ospreay on AEW television in a matchup. He's already wrestling on Rampage. I think it was also cool that we got to see Aussie Open. That was really awesome. He didn't come on, and it wasn't Great Khan and Jeff Cobb who we seen a couple weeks ago. We're seeing more of the United Empire, which is dope. So I think that this was overall a grand slam of a segment.
We got the full invasion, Dinero.
Yeah.
We're still missing TJP, but he's in Japan, so there you go.
Him and Francisco Akira.
Oh, that's what I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot about You're right.
But there also a lot of people don't know too. Like there's a lot of work behind the scenes too, because a lot of people don't know that he is good friends with Tony Storm, who is engaged to, of course, Juice Robinson, who is wrestling Will Ospreay at Dominion along with Sonata. And then, of course, Tony Storm's best friend is Bray Priestley, who is dating Will Ospreay as well. So they all know each other. So we don't know if she helped make that happen along with Juice, since now he's in a bigger stage with the Bullet Club. So maybe they talked him and helped out, like kind of like what Rocky Romero does, because he's like the liaison between New Japan and AEW, because he can speak both and he knows both cultures, and maybe they helped Rocky out with this as well.
I got to give a little bit of credit to Jamie Hayter too, because she's got her history with Bea Priestley and everybody.
And then when she first trained, she was training in the same class as Jay White.
It's the 6 degrees of separation, like it all connects.
Everybody knows each other in wrestling.
It's a small world. But all right, and then we got this other one, of course. Hangman Page, David Finlay, of course. Finlay was a great
of Juice Robinson, David Finlay, Juice Robinson.
Yes. And for God's sakes, man, I think you mentioned it, earlier, Mike. You mentioned it. We need a presentation. Damn it. Can you be like this man over here?
We'll make movies.
Make movies, for God's sakes. Introduce who is David Finlay.
We even need movies. Just make short films or something.
Short films.
Make clips.
I hate how the only thing that they did was, it's David Finlay, the son of Fit Finlay.
There's so much more that goes into that. Come on.
There's so much into that. So much
former IWGP Tag Team Champion, winner of World Tag League.
There's a lot.
He's done so much over there, and I feel like such a short time building.
I love
character.
his theme, rock and roll.
Yeah. And it's like, but it's crazy how now he's carrying the shaloka now that his father used to carry as like a homage to him. Like it's been a while because I think he did it before. He took it away, and now it's brought back.
Ring of Honor. He did a Ring of Honor.
Yeah, now that it's just him again with that. But the only thing I hated was how they didn't kind of like show him and Juice Robinson breaking up. They didn't really do anything with it. It was just, they're broken up now. He's on his own.
Stop with that. That's what I thought.
But I agree that they should have did a package. Like, this is who he's going to wrestle.
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, it was a great performance for him. I was like, it's very brief. Great performance for David. Glad to see him. Does remind me a little bit of his father, though. And I'm glad that he has that, and of course, Hangman and him, they go way back from Ring of Honor as well, besides New Japan. They're familiar with each other. The chemistry's there. Yeah. And I like the chemistry, what they had. And it amazes me. And I hope we see more of Finlay. Since where is he going to be now? There's no longer him and Juice. Where else could he be? I mean, just don't go to the club, man. Don't.
He did make the comment that he wants to be in the G1. So,
I would love that.
I would love that.
Fresh faces in the G1.
Yeah, I would love it. But
are you guys ready for a weird analogy?
Oh, we're waiting for a curveball, but I guess not yet. But go ahead.
We got a weird analogy for you guys. So between Jay White, Hangman Page, and David Finlay, they're like a submarine, a destroyer, and a battleship. Each one defeats the other one, but it's like rock, paper, scissors. Because David Finlay's beat Jay White. Jay White's defeated Hangman. Hangman has, defeated David Finlay. And then David Finlay defeated Jay White. Like, it's like,
And I think he defeated him in the New Japan Cup. I think that's where he defeated him. And then that's when Jay White kind of went on the New Japan Strong kind of tangent for like a year where he was just wrestling over there.
I wouldn't mind seeing a triple threat with Jay White in the mix in the future somewhere.
And then as we mentioned, Jay White built the whole promo section of his repertoire when he wrestled Hangman over in San Jose, I believe it was. The whole thing that they had the pre commentary or where they were
for the US title, right?
Yeah, they were asking him questions and everything, and that's where they kind of build up Jay White even more was with that match, and that was all great. And then he even said it when he was on Renee's podcast that he was like he was never one to be on the mic or have any mic skills. He said that moment there was one of the ones that helped him build up his as you would say street cred with being on the mic, and he just wanted to do it more and more after that with Hangman. And
these three are great ingredients. They're a dish waiting to happen. I gotta say, food references.
Number two right there.
Number two. These three together. This is a dish in my head that I'm putting together. It's like, wow, they fit it. They complement each other so well.
Your local combo you're gonna have right there with the two
Hangman Page, David Finlay, and Jay White. I got them all.
Jesus. Right. Any final thoughts on this match? Very brief. I feel like everybody had their chemistry, but go ahead. Anybody wants to take it away on this?
This was a good match. They have a lot of good chemistry, and just like I said about Will Ospreay, I would like to see Dave Finlay as a semi-regular in AEW as well. I think that he has a lot to offer the AEW roster, and he really came out. He had a lot of intensity. There was a nasty spot when Hangman went for the dive outside, and it looked like Dave Finlay hit the back of his head on the guardrail.
Oh, yes, he did.
Yeah, that was nasty. And before you know it, David Finlay's right back in the ring, and he's still banging. So definitely has a lot of heart, and they have a lot of good chemistry with each other.
And if I remember correctly, his contract is running out, and he had said that he's not going to resign with New Japan.
Really?
So maybe he does go to AEW, because if I'm correct, because I believe it's ending soon, and with him having nowhere direction, I can see it happening.
I like David Finlay as the TNT champion. I like that. I like
how that All Atlantic.
I was going to say All Atlantic.
I'll tell you one thing, and Matt should have thrown this curveball. I don't know why he didn't throw it. This should be a curveball. What about if he doesn't resign, right? And he goes, he signs with AEW, and he joins with Blackpool Combat Club.
Ooh,
with William Regal.
Regal and Finlay have the history.
Yes.
I'm 65% with you there. I'll give you 65% of my stock on that.
Not 69?
65. You don't get the other 4 yet.
I know.
Once I see how that goes, it becomes 69% of my stock for Blackpool Combat Club. Yeah, you would fit that concept. If I was any wrestler coming to AEW, that would probably be the faction I want to be a part of, Blackpool Combat Club. Because you get to face baby faces and heels in Blackpool Combat Club. That's really, I think they're, because of Jon Moxley, I think they're definitively the tweener faction.
He's more of a brawler like Moxley, though. That's why I wouldn't mind that. I mean, he is Fit Finley's son, relationship with Regal. How you mentioned, Mike, that De Niro. I mean, how Finley and Regal had a history. Why not? I don't see nothing wrong with that. Could be intriguing to see. To me, it's like a little mesh they're having. You gotta have different dishes, Matt. See, I'm throwing your food credit at your food. You gotta have different.
And I just looked, and it doesn't give a specific date, but it said sometime this year. And it was actually his dad who was interviewed, and his dad talked to his son, of course, David, and he said that he's very interested in like trying himself out in other organizations, whether it's AEW, WWE, or whatnot, whatever it is, he's interested in trying it.
He could fit to for me in WWE, honestly, but I don't know about NXT 2.0.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I mean, he could try. I think he has the charisma for sure because of the way how he's his. Hey, let me just fucking play. Might as well. I'll let him first though.
Aggression.
That's what it is. That's right.
Yeah. Is his dad in AEW as a producer?
No, he's still in WWE, I believe.
He's still in WWE? Okay.
Yeah.
He's the producer.
But if he was in the NXT 2.0, they would make him like Disco David or something. Like, it would be horrible.
They would put him in a banana suit. He'd come out to Blink-182. What's my age again?
How polar opposite would that be? Because Juice first started in NXT and then came over to New Japan.
Great point. Yeah.
Very yes.
And this would be the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
except
right.
in a bad way.
Yeah. Want to see someone move backwards in their career?
Yeah,
that's right. I mean, we all knew this part too, that he was in a challenge. It was rumor around that he was in a challenge for the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. But I mean, should it be Okada? Should it be Jay White? But we'll get into them in a brief moment. But you think, with Hangman winning and then him challenging this was a great decision or a bad decision? So I'll take it to you, Dan. And who do you want him to face? Should it be Okada or should it be Jay White?
It was a good idea to have him win because you got to get him back on that run, because you're not going to have him lose the match and then be like, I lost, but you know what? I'm going to challenge for the title anyway. So you got to get him on the winning track. You'll probably have him wrestle at least one more time before Forbidden Door. But you kind of knew once Punk won that Punk was going to be the champion, and then you felt like both belts were somehow going to be defended. I said it before, like a lot of people thought it was going to be belt versus belt, and I was like, why would they do that when they could have one belt defended between AEW and New Japan guy, and then the other belt defended
last week.
between the both, and you can get the most out of your money with that, because instead of just having one match, it gives you two big matches, and it puts a lot on both brands. So you got this one with Moxley right now and Tanahashi, supposedly, because he's wrestling Goto, but it makes sense for Tanahashi. And here you go on this side, you get Hangman, who just lost the belt, and he's like, it was like, since I'm not in the Battle Royale and I can't challenge for the belt right now, why can't I just challenge for the IWGP? And you look at both sides, you got Jay White, who he's worked with in the past. It could be a good guy, bad guy deal where they have that unfinished business there that could work out great. But then you got that unknown in Hangman and Okada, because I don't think, did they ever wrestle in New Japan? Or
Okada
and Hangman.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they had a really good match.
So you got that. So if they've had a good match there, and Hangman has gotten a lot better, and he's kind of built himself more and got a better character now, it gives you a lot more to work with as well. It's just that if you do that, where does that leave Jay White? But then if it's not Jay White, where does that leave Okada? It gives you that that kind of thing where, okay, maybe it's offering more things down the line too, because maybe you can.
I have my answer there, but
yeah,
I think you know where my point is. You know where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with it.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with it.
Yeah, but so that's why I think it's going to be him and Okada. You got Okada's probably the biggest face in New Japan, and you got your young rising star in Hangman. He's the guy that
he needs the rub. He needs the rub.
Yeah. And he can lose the match and still get the rub at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I think that would be. Yeah,
Kenny lost the first two Kenny lost like the first two matches to Okada, and look how big of a star that he became from those losses.
Yeah, you could gain a lot from losing. Like, I'm a big ECW fan, right? And Tommy Dreamer tells the story that whenever it was Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman versus the Dudley Boys, Dreamer and the Sandman will argue about who takes the fall. They both wanted to lose because they knew whoever got the fall would come out a bigger star. So definitely, I think Hangman could definitely become a bigger star losing to Okada.
If Chris, you're watching this, you should love this guy right now because I think Chris is falling in love with you already.
Some ECW, he got some ECW flavor in the dish for you.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'm a big ECW mark. So
there you go. There's nothing wrong with that. Me too.
Trust me. I'm in the backyard of it, so I grew up watching that.
So am I live in New York, so every New York show, every Philly show, I was trying to go to. So
yeah,
yeah. But man, I mean, do you agree? What about your thoughts, Dinero? Do you want Okada or you want Jay White?
I want Okada because I think that Jay White will probably have something to do with Adam Cole and the Elite. But I think that it was really cool. And it was a nice touch to have Adam Cole like cut Hangman off and remind Hangman that Jay White might be the IWGP champion before Forbidden Door. Because if you already announced here that I want Okada, I want the IWGP champion, is that a spoiler for Dominion? Like at least here they were able to keep like it alive that hey, we don't know who's going to be IWGP champion before Forbidden Door. So I thought that was a nice touch. I think Okada and Hangman, I remember their first match in New Japan. They had a great matchup. I think that they would have an even better matchup now. And yeah, I'm definitely happy to finally see Okada in AEW because I think that that's the one guy from New Japan I wanted most in AEW.
Agreed. Matt Callis, this is your world. Take it away.
It's my world. My world. Jay White, you could put him up against a lot of people and also Will Ospreay as well. But one match that didn't happen at had they stuck around, had the AEW not happened. If there was no AEW, I think one of the Jericho versus Jay White would have been an eventuality. That would have happened more like I guess sooner than later. Of that. So I mean, some time has passed since then, but I mean, it's better now than never, I mean,
because he only had the 3 matches: Naito, Tanahashi, and Okada, I believe.
Yeah, and Kenny.
No, Omega, and
Evil. He had a match against Evil as well.
He had Tanahashi later on. He had Tanahashi later on, and then Suzuki Jericho is another one down the line. But Jay White, you got to put him up against somebody who could talk, so you could really get the maximum flavor.
Like I said, let's save it when Dominion's over. I am so down to do a recap on Dominion next week.
Yeah, we gotta do it.
I think we should all do it, and not AEW, but just Dominion. I really want to see, because remind you, Dominion will pretty much is the one that's going to lead us to know what's going to happen at Forbidden Door. Who's going to come over to
Don't be surprised on AEW run-ins at Dominion.
Oh,
AEW did mention Dominion a couple times, so I would not be surprised.
Don't be surprised if they mess with some of the there could be some interference.
It makes a lot of sense to create that those moments for other matches because you got to have that build up to it.
And there's not much time for the show.
Yeah, and we get those. You're going to be hitting that Ned Flanders thing like 5, 6, 7 times.
He was waiting. He had his finger on the button. He was just waiting.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for it. And of course, man, watch.
Take me to the son of a bitch. Take me to him. Come on. Go.
I'm sorry.
Like I said, he slipped and busted his ass when he turned that corner.
But with the Adam Cole thing, you're gonna think that maybe they turn that into like a match between him and Hangman. The winner goes to Forbidden Door, and then maybe something happens there.
That match will be on Dynamite, so
maybe next week if he's ready.
Because what if that happens and say Jay White loses, or maybe Hangman comes to Dominion and costs him the match or something like that, and then he comes back to cost Hangman the match, and he winds up costing Adam Cole the match, and it creates the tension between Adam Cole and Jay White because of it.
This is such good shit.
It's good shit. All this fucking.
It would
shit.
take it all the way back to when Forbidden Door was announced, and Jay White came out, cut the promo saying that it's all going to be about the Bullet Club and the Undisputed Elite.
Yeah,
if we have an Adam Cole versus Jay White match. That's what it's all about.
Let's not forget, Bullet Club has the numbers, and even more so now that Ace Austin's a member. They have the X Division title is now part of the Bullet Club.
I was thinking that's crazy that he's going to be defending it on Dominion, and then the next week he's got the X Division title match.
I can't. Hold on, I got you. Damn it, Leo, where are you?
I love it.
Yo, I got you. Oh, man.
And I don't want to change the subject, but don't be surprised because I don't think they've announced that last entry into the X Division match. Don't be surprised if it's Alex Zane.
Oh,
there you go.
I'm a big Alex.
That'll be awesome. Oh man, we'll talk about that next week when it comes to Slammiversary for sure. I'm telling you, man, this is a summer professional wrestling, man. There's some shit going on.
There's a lot of shit.
A lot of shit, man.
There's like every week there's like some sort of pay-per-view happening.
Oh man, but I'm loving it, man. I just
hot wrestling summer. It's the hot wrestling summer episode. Not hot summer. Hot wrestling summer.
All right, let's get into this one. Let's break it down as much as we can so we get into the other cards for Dominion and everything. Okay. We did see Wardlow, okay, Man of the Year segment. So it looks like he's going to be the next challenger for the TNT belt. Is this the right move? Should Wardlow be the next challenger, though? So I'll take it to you, Dan. Should he be the one challenging next for the TNT?
Well, once he's done fighting 20 security guards on Dynamite, he will be. Since they got to do this crazy thing with
it's a lot of local talent.
Yeah. A lot of local talent. Yeah, exactly.
I hope Tony Khan is paying him at least extra $100 more. At least,
right?
But when you get the promo where like if you look at it where he wore that outfit, the attire for Double or Nothing, it was kind of CM Punk styled, he said, because he wants to wrestle and take the belt from CM Punk, like I said earlier. So this gives him something to do in the meantime. So I think it's crazy, kind of sudden that he's going back to it, but then he did hit the nail in the coffin where he said, I had a title and it got taken away from me. So it's kind of trying him going with unfinished business here, but then it's like, if he wins, where does he go with that? And then how do you get it off of him in the future? Because you literally just put it on Scorpio Sky, which I loved it. You gave Scorpio Sky the Kobe belt, the Dean belt, which was cool. He wrestled in LA, and why would you just have it on him for a couple weeks just to lose it to Wardlow?
Well, they've been doing that, yeah. They've been hot shining that title back and forth.
When you got this guy that is like on that Goldberg status, where he's just, but in the fact that he can actually wrestle really good, and he's getting over and over with the fans, you want to just keep on going. I think they could have done something else other than the TNT title and given somebody else who wasn't really working anything that opportunity to build somebody. But I guess it's just them giving him something to do in the meantime. I just thought that maybe it was too soon to do this.
Zero.
I think that it's cool that they are bringing back the story that he had that title won and then he like got screwed out of it. For sure, I think if they do have a TNT title match, Wardlow beats Scorpio Sky. And then maybe he holds it, and then the matchup with CM Punk eventually down the line is a title for title match where maybe they like merge the titles, and now you got the All Atlantic title as the main secondary title. Who knows? But I think that it's cool. Wardlow definitely needs something to do always. If you remember, like there would be a lot of start-stops with Wardlow back in like the early AEW days where you'd see him have a match, he'd get over with the crowd, and then we won't see him for like another like month. So I feel like right now you got to strike when the iron's hot. If there's a title match ready for him, you got to do it because everybody wants to see this guy succeed. Crowd's behind him. People are kind of pissed off about the direction of the TNT title, and that was a title that had prestige when guys like Miro held it Guys like Cody held it the first reign. The guys like Brody Lee, of course, right? So I think someone like Wardlow could definitely take it back to upper echelon, status, where right now we just see it. Not saying Scorpio Sky is not a great wrestler, he's phenomenal, but right now is being like hot shotted back and forth between him and Sammy. It just doesn't have the same prestige as it once had. And if you have it on somebody like Wardlow, he could bring it back to that level. So I'm not mad at it. As for like the 20 security guards thing, I feel like that's just a side story that we don't even have to do. Like, what's the point of it? Like,
keep him busy, man. Extend it a little bit longer for him to like get that
money. It's like that two week thing that you got to wrestle these guys instead of going to court, and then he wrestles them, and then it ends.
It reminds me of like the TNA Asylum years. You remember you had like the red shirt security guard wrestling and the black shirt security guards. Like they had like matches against each other. It was like, who really wants to see like the security teams wrestle?
What was it? Those two tall brothers.
Bring it all the way back.
That's all the way back. Oh man, I love it.
I remember the two tall brothers from TNA.
Don and Ron Harris.
Oh yeah, Don and Ron. Was it the DOA, the type of apocalypse back in the WWE?
Yeah.
And then you had the red shirts. You had, what's the guy's name? Something Northcutt.
I forgot. I forgot his fucking name. I know exactly what you're talking about, but shit, I forgot his name.
I gotta say, Ivan, that I think right now would be the good time to pull the trigger on Wardlow getting that title. But if not, I mean, it would be kind of like, that he stops, like you said. It wouldn't be a good time for him to take a loss. I'd be kind of disappointed. But one of the things, the only kind of good move that they could possibly do by not putting the title on him, I don't even know if it'd be a good move. I'm gonna go by percentages because only a Sith deals in absolute. No, I'm just kidding. No, no, only I'm probably only like 37.8% behind this idea. What do you guys think of a dusty finish on Wardlow?
I had a 33 and a third chance of winning, but I got a 66 and 2/3 chance of winning.
PD Williams' face makes that promo even better. Like he's just looking like
Maple Leaf muscle. He's counting with his hand.
Oh man, that's like elementary stuff or like preschool stuff. Like he counted like
times 4 divided by
I think, as for your question, I think that right now with the momentum Wardlow has, he has to have a dominant clean win. He has to just run through everybody he's going against. Like Goldberg. Like he has to just
everybody loves him. They got to pull the trigger.
Yeah, for sure.
And if he wins it, you got to have him hold it for a while where he just keeps it going. And then you got to make it mean something when he loses it. Or like you said, if they do a title versus title.
For the All-Atlantic Championship.
He's gotta lose it to like a heel that's up and coming. Like an up and coming. Like maybe like Tony Nese in a few months or something. I don't know. Some heel
because
that's
this back and forth with the TNT title is not working because I feel like now what are they going to do with Sammy Guevara when he comes back? Because he had a lot of hype, and then they turn him kind of face, and then heel, and face again, then heel again, and it kind of stunted him. And then you had Frankie Kazarian that you added into the match. Now he's wrestling that Slammiversary and Impact. Mm-hmm. He's not even wrestling in the AEW right now. He's going to be doing Impact right now, so he at least has something. But you got this big star in Sammy that's not even getting used, and where you kind of just plug in Wardlow there just to give him something to do, where he could be doing that without a title. He's bigger than the title itself, in my opinion.
But when does he eventually earn a title shot then? Because he can't run through everybody and never get a title shot.
Well, he even said it himself. He could have been in the Battle Royale and done that, but he wants to wrestle Punk when he comes back. He wants that as his ultimate goal. So with how they do this long-term storytelling, because there's not a pay-per-view every month, you can draw something out to it. Maybe the Smart Mark thing gets drawn out into something where he brings in a wrestler or he works with somebody else, since now he's only with one person since he got fired.
Yeah, maybe.
With Jay Cargill, so he can add somebody on and
Dalton
feud with
Castle.
him.
I don't know, a heel like Dalton or Matt Taven. You know, there's a lot of heels.
Maybe the Black Throne a little bit, because you got a guy like Brody King there that's big enough with him, or Malachi Black that could do a few matches with them to where he could have something and then not have a title involved there. Now that somehow he won the All Atlantic.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of things with Wardlow, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what will happen with him. Very quick, I already announced it next week for Road Ranger. For God's sakes, please trigger this button. This needs to happen. Christian needs to go heel already. At that
with a lethal dose of poison.
At that poison already, damn it! Just make him a heel next week.
How many triple threat matches are you gonna have with Jurassic Express before you have them lose?
Right.
Yeah, but you know what? You're absolutely right. Why would they do that?
This is number 3
I don't
want to.
Why would you do that?
I don't want to see Jeff Hardy take no ladder bumps. This man cannot afford it at this point. He's already banged up. Stay away from the top of the ladder, especially those 20-foot ones.
You know that's not going to happen. You know that's.
I know he's going to do some crazy, stupid shit. He's going to do a swanton off of a fucking ladder, miss and hit another ladder, and then try to wrestle the next week and be all slow. So
I'm calling it now. They're putting it on the Hardys. They're going to put it on them.
I think so too.
Just to do it, and then you got the Young Bucks who can carry the match. They got the star power. They don't need the titles right now, and of course you got Jurassic Express. Who you need to take it off of it to create that Christian moment where he turns, and then maybe something happens with the Jungle Boy too.
Yeah, and I think that it would give more fuel to the fire of Christian wanting to turn, especially if they lost it to his former rivals of the Hardy Boys. Like if they lost it to the Young Bucks, I could see Christian being upset, but what would be the motive to turn? Where here, if they lost it to his former rivals, it's like, now you embarrassed me. You know, like now it would just make more sense.
Yeah.
I think that the Hardy Boys win it as well.
Agreed. I can't wait for that one, man.
Yeah, you know it's going to be crazy as fuck.
Oh, yeah. I hate to say, but this match was not crazy. I know, I'm sorry, Thunder, but I was not, even though you...
I am la mera.
I know you are, okay? Just don't kill me, okay? I love you regardless, but this match was not intriguing. The fact... I mean, the chemistry was not really there. I get it. Marina's a shooter. I mean, Dan can vouch for this too. She is a ground type wrestler because of her MMA background. But the chemistry between them, it was I did like the fact that we see Tony Storm though. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But the question is that too soon? So take it to you, Dan. Do you think that's too soon?
I don't like half of what they do at Marina Shafir because they only showcase that. They don't know that she has done a lot of work with her wrestling. Of course, we all know who her husband is, Roderick Strong, who's trying to find his way out of WWE right now. And I've seen her in the past do a lot of the stuff that he taught her, and I'm like, why don't they use that? But they have to predicate on her MMA background. She trains with a lot of MMA fighters still, so they toy with that, kind of like Ronda Rousey. They're trying to build that thing, and it's just not working. The way she does is stiff. She can work with it, but it's like they're making her expressions too serious. She doesn't talk too much.
That music gotta go, by the way.
I was gonna say, I didn't know what was that. Like, I was falling asleep.
You're not Russian, for God's sake. You're Romanian.
She's from Moldova, and that's why they make her serious, and it just doesn't add up. Just change everything about her, and she'll be a lot better. And I guess the chase with Thunder Rosa was the best thing, but since she's been champion, there's been something missing with her. I don't know what it is, but there's been something missing, and maybe it's just the lack of an opponent that gets somebody excited to her. And like you had Serena Deeb that people thought that were going to be exciting because she could wrestle, and she had those matches with Sheeta. It just it was a good match. It just didn't get people excited because there was no build to it. I think Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm, whether it's too soon or too late, there is a build to that you can do. These are two people that can wrestle up and down the road, and people like, and they could get invested into this. It's just, how are they going to work this? Are they going to do it now? Is this just like a plan in the seed for maybe a couple months down the road, or are they going to rush this and make this at like All Out or something like that?
Good call. I like that.
Yeah. I think that this definitely gets stretched out to like All Out. I don't see them pulling the trigger on this matchup anytime soon. It's too big of a matchup, and it's probably like their next big matchup that they could do for the women's division. But I think that, I don't know. I agree with you. It kind of reminds me of Hangman's title reign, where the whole climbing to the top, the whole earning your title shot, the chase was a lot more exciting than when he finally won the title. It's really rare that you have somebody who has an exciting chase and then wins the title and has just as much of an exciting title reign. So I don't know. I think Thunder Rosa, it's like half and half. Like, yeah, it hasn't been the best title reign, but also she's not showcased a lot. This is very rare that we've been seeing her wrestle on AEW television. She had the match at the pay-per-view, but before that, it's been a lot of promos. We haven't really seen her wrestling. So I feel like if they had her wrestle more, which is her strong suit, like, you would see more of another dimension in this title reign, and it would probably be more exciting too.
But here's the thing, though. They had her wrestling majority at times when she was not a champion. Yeah. And also, and besides Dark and Elevation, but she had her moments that she wrestled most of the time on Dynamite. She was giving her TV time. I get your point, though. I'm not disagreeing that, see, that's always been the issue is once you make him a champion, now what? What is next? And that's where the booking should be blamed for. I don't blame the talent. I blame the booking of what you need to do with.
Because they did the same thing with Hangman. Hangman won the title, and then he wasn't on TV for like 5 weeks. It's like, all right, what the hell? Like, this is your champion. Thunder Rosa is your women's champion. You should be showcasing her weekly. I know you have a big roster. I know you have to rotate, but your champions, they should be on the show showcased. It doesn't have to be a matchup. It could be a promo. It could be something, but your champion should always be showcased on the show. If I'm a first-time viewer and I'm tuning into AEW Dynamite and I don't know who the champion is, and I don't see the champion for the 2 hours of Dynamite, I'm still confused. Who's the champion? Why is the champion not on TV? They need to showcase their champions.
I think this is what happens when you put a lot of your eggs into one basket and Brett Baker, and you just build her to the moon, and then everybody else
to
the moon, and then you get her left, everybody else left to the side, and now here you go, and you take the belt off of her, and you put it on Thunder Rosa, which was the right move at the time because of the build. But then you go with the Owen Hart tournament, and who do you have win it? Brett Baker. You have her win it. Every new thing that you have, you put it into her instead of building somebody else. That could have been a thing that you could have put on a Tony Storm. That could have been a thing that led to a match.
Or Ruby
because
Soho.
She won that. You could have had Ruby Soho. That would have been the perfect time to put it on to have her win that, to have her like build her up a little bit. But they'll always get to the point where it's always Brett Baker, and everybody else is just whatever. So it's kind of like, even though Brett Baker doesn't have the title, she's still over Thunder Rosa when it comes to wrestling, and she didn't even wrestle for like a month and a half. Right after she lost to Thunder Rosa, and she still got more work than Thunder Rosa. She still gets more TV time when she's there compared to Thunder Rosa. And it just shows that they booked themselves into a problem where they built a star, but then they didn't build up anybody else.
They booked themselves into a corner. Yeah.
But hey, you know what? When you mentioned that, I think it's Tony Khan's fault because he's the one he's very overprotective of the talent. Like, he's scared that they're going to lose their momentum if he has them to lose to a certain individual. TK, come on, man. Are you protecting the talent?
That's fucking bullshit.
No, that is not bullshit. It's true.
This is where you see, though, like, Tony Khan he books amazing matches. He books a lot of dream matches week in and week out. But this is where you start seeing like the inexperience of Tony Khan not being a booker, not being in the business for too long. Like, you built a star, but usually when you build a star, when a star is on the rise, you're building stars around that star as well. and they did not do that with Britt Baker.
What's going on, Brian Cook? Welcome to the show, man.
He needs that number 2 guy behind him to help him out, like kind of like in the early days and up until a couple of years ago, Vince McMahon had Pat Patterson that was not afraid to tell him no or don't do this. You need to do this because Vince trusted him and it worked out. And now you've seen that Pat Patterson's not there anymore. You've seen some of the wrinkles happen in WWE.
He has now. Hey, yeah, go with it.
What do you say, boss?
What do you say, boss? I know you work out so strong.
You got too many
worried about shit.
You got too many yes men there, and you need a guy to kind of like to keep him direct and keep him on point to tell him no to this and counteract them to give him other options. He needs that because he's doing too much. I get why he took away the EVP power from a lot of those guys wrestling because they're doing too much. But you need to bring somebody in executive wise that can work with them.
William Regal
can help him out.
I was going to say they already have. They don't have to bring in anybody. They have it backstage already. You have William Regal. You have Arn Anderson. You have Dean Malenko. You have a lot of Jerry Lynn. There's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of knowledge and years of experience there that could help out. Even wrestlers, like if you want to get like the input of a Chris Jericho, he's there. Like there's people who've been around and been to the dance, been to WrestleMania, wrestled in WrestleMania main events. It's like these are the people you need to lean on to like ask, does this make sense? Am I going in the right direction? You don't have to be co-booker, but you could just like, hey, what do you think about the story?
I just think he needs that one guy that's like, okay, shoot me what you're thinking right now, run it by me, and then be like, that's good. I don't think that's good. Maybe we should do this. And just a guy that can help him out to be like, okay, like it doesn't have to be like, okay, I gotta bring this guy in to do this. Just one person, wherever it is, to run ideas.
100%, it should be Regal.
Yes, yes, agreed. Regal should be the guy because NXT. How did NXT was in fruition? You know, Paul Levesque had William Regal for that reason. He's my number 2 guy. How will we do this? All right, this is how we should go with this direction. And he went with the direction, even though he was an on-air talent as a general manager. But Regal knows he scouted for him. He picked the right talents to come over, to come over to the NXT brand. So William Regal
a lot of people don't know that he did a lot of recruiting for NXT. He did a lot
but you know, also, on the other side of it, though, all that is a lot of work. Like helping write a show weekly, it's a lot of work. Recruiting and going out there and talent scouting, it's a lot of work. So maybe a big like plus for him for signing with AEW was you're just coming in as a talent. Like he's done so much in his career for so many years. Maybe this is like the tail end of his career. He could come in just as a talent, take it easy, come in, do his on-air role, and that's it. So maybe William Regal has the opportunity to do it, but maybe he doesn't want to do it. So that's
the way how we've been seeing and reading, and he's been volunteering, training other people, giving his pointers to Cargill, helping that women's division out, even training along with besides him and Bryan Danielson, having seminars. Hey, you want to learn? Come over here. I love that, and I'm glad that he's 100%. Doing that. And
you see that a lot because you as you know, Dusty Rhodes has been working with the women. He's one of the primary people there. Like Thunder Rosa had him on her podcast and discussed how he's basically the number one guy that's been there for all the women. He vouches for them. He makes sure when somebody's not getting used, he says they need to be used. We need to do this. We need to do that. So you kind of like you got that with there, but it's like this, just that one thing where it's like, okay, you're only pushing Britt Baker, and then you had something great in Thunder Rosa, and then it kind of got killed because you're still pushing Britt Baker. You want to push your champion, not push your number one based woman there. Like she won the champion, she's already over. You don't have to put her over any more than she already is. You want to build up Thunder Rosa now even more as champion, because then when she puts over somebody else, now you got Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa that are already built, and now you're working on a third person with all that talent there. But here you are back at square one with just Britt Baker.
It's like when John Cena was like the main guy. He was like when he was the main WWE talent, and you would have another guy win the title. John Cena was still the focal point of the show.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I remember when CM Punk,
ironically, CM Punk, like just like you said.
I was gonna say when CM Punk was the champion, John Cena was main eventing like every single. He main evented against John Laurinaitis when CM Punk was the champion. Think about that. The main event of the show was John Cena and John Laurinaitis. You had CM Punk. Like, come on, are you serious?
People power.
Like, yeah, it was like, I don't know. I feel like the champions will always be the focal point.
I do like Brian's comment, by the way. I love you, Brian, man, because you always could say this shit. And yes, I agree. William Regal run it to pretty much to booking style. Malenko be the booker in the ring. How to start it, how to end it.
Yeah.
Arn, how to actually tell a fucking promo, how to do a fucking story.
Tell a story, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Psychology.
Yes. I love you, man. Fucking love you. Oh, Jesus Christ. Matt Callis, we haven't heard from you. Take it away from Thunder Rosa, and I know we were digressing. We went off a little bit because the women's booking, especially with the championship. But do you agree? Everything we just said, or give us your 2 cents.
Marina Shafir, I kind of like her look, because I haven't really seen like female heels that are just like, I don't know. It's just like serious and dark. There's nothing kind of like funny, sexy, or like whatever. It's just very, straightforward. I mean, if you just add a little bit of mic skills to that would be kind of cool. But then again, like it is pretty flat. With Hikaru Shida not around or injured, and a lot of other stuff. We're a little. The well is looking dry, and we've got a lot of Ring of Honor women's talent that we should be bringing in too, along with the picture.
I think it's just like we could go all over for this subject, but but I'll
do this all day. I could do this
all
day.
Just look at what NXT just did with Roxanne Perez. Roxy, who was the champion in Ring of Honor. They bring her in right away. Had this tournament, she wins it. They are building her up right now.
I'm happy for her. Congratulations for her, by the way. I'm very happy for her. I've been a big supporter of her since before Ring of Honor, just seeing her in the independent circuit overall. I'm really happy for her. I'm glad she's getting her shine. And
100%.
100%. Very happy. Very quick, the main event. We already know what the outcome is, but I could say, very brief, just to get it out of my way. Man, that kick from the rope on I swear I thought nasty. Okay, he probably fucked him up. I think he hurt him. I think he's done. But great sell from Kyle, though. I can tell you this. And this is the first time they ever meet each other face to face, right? I mean,
I believe so.
Right? It should be, right? I believe so.
Because O'Reilly never got to that point in NXT to get the call up. So
unless they had like a CZW or Evolve match way back in the day when O'Reilly was in the early days of Evolve and John Moxley was like on his way out of there.
And then you got different people back, like they're very different people back then too. So
very true. I enjoyed it. Great performance from Kyle, especially. I mean, another underrated main event he could be. Like we see how he did it in NXT. He did a fantastic job in NXT. I'm glad that he got his moment to shine here, and I'm glad that TK went with him in the decision. Even though, like how we mentioned earlier, we could have chosen different people, but I'm glad Kyle got his spot, and this is where he proved it against Moxley for the first time, and it showed that seemed like these guys has been in the ring for quite some time. My opinion. I mean, this is my fucking opinion. Jump in the ring, but yes,
he can wrestle with anybody. Like he wrestled with Jungle Boy, won that. And then he wrestled Samoa Joe. They had a great match. I think that was the last match of that night or close to it. And then, of course, he had the match with Darby. It was added on a day or two before the pay-per-view. And it was one of my favorite matches of that pay-per-view. It was one of the unsung hero matches of that, too. And then he goes in, does the Battle Royale, does a good job there, and then does a good job here. Like, he just does a good job in general against whoever you put in front of him.
Indeed. But take it away, Danny. I mean, the match. Take it away. This main event.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every spot that they had. I felt like they worked it. They worked like just them going the punishment in it, just the close combat, of course. The reversals. You had Kyle O'Reilly put a submission on him. He gets a reverse and it goes right into the Bulldog choke. But then he gets out of it because he knows how to get out of it, and then he transitions it into another move. It was just all the small little integrals of the match because he can work that close combat with Moxley. And of course, Moxley gets it at the end with the finisher. It was the perfect way for a match. It had not that many crazy things. It was just, like I said, close combat. And they made the match very well with how they set it up. I thought it was set up very well, and it worked to what it was. Like I said, Kyle O'Reilly doesn't put on a bad match whatsoever, and he made Jon Moxley look even better.
That's right, man. That's right. Well said. Brother Mike, take it away.
Everything you just said is exactly what I think. Like, great matchup. It was a war. Like, these guys beat the shit out of each other. Some aspects I loved about it was William Regal on commentary talk about how he has a history with both Kyle O'Reilly and with Jon Moxley. I don't know. I feel like one of my main problems is I address a lot of haters. Like, I see a lot of hate comments, and I'm like, I'm about to like address people, right? So I see a lot of people saying that Kyle O'Reilly did not deserve this spot. The man is a former PWG champion, former Ring of Honor champion, and that's not even including the plethora of tag team titles he's won with Bobby Fish, right? The man is an elite wrestler, no pun intended. And he showed that here. Like, for everyone who thought that he wasn't right for this spot, he had a phenomenal matchup in the main event with Jon Moxley. And there was a lot of points of this matchup where I was thinking, like, at the back of my head, I knew Jon was going to win, but I was like, wow, Kyle O'Reilly might pull this out. He might pull it out. He might have a upset. It might be a shocker because everything he did looked legit. Like you said, I liked the transitions with the submissions because he's a submission specialist. So he knew how to get out of the bulldog choke. He knew how to transition that into a armbar. I think that he really showed that if they ever need to come back to having him in the main event, or if they need somebody for the title picture, Kyle O'Reilly could step up and he could be that man. So I think that it was an amazing main event. I think that it was a good matchup for Jon Moxley as well. Moxley looked absolutely vicious. This main event, the main event last week with Daniel Garcia, Moxley's bringing a lot of intensity to his matches. And I think that's only leading to bigger things. So I'm excited for him to get the title shot at Forbidden Door. I'm excited for him to finally get the matchup against Tanahashi because he's been calling out Tanahashi for a while on AEW, saying that Tanahashi's scared to come to the States to face him. Now hopefully we get that matchup.
It's been this year-long thing with them.
Exactly.
Because when Moxley
almost 2 years though, right? Almost 2 years.
Because when Moxley was the champion, there was talks about having him versus Tanahashi, and then Tanahashi got the U.S. title, and then it just got split up like this. But now it's starting to come together. And like I said before, it makes me think, what would have happened if Punk never would have got hurt?
Because this had the story. This was, to be honest, I thought Tanahashi was going against Moxley the whole time when I heard that Forbidden Door was going to be a thing. It wasn't until Tanahashi came out when CM Punk called out his opponent last week where I was like, wow, they're not going with Tanahashi Mox, because that was the match. That was the only match that you could be.
Maybe you're right with that, because they did have that whole thing where Kenta has been treating out CM Punk, and then CM Punk got hurt, and then you see the tweet Kenta put out, knock, knock. Oh, no one? Okay, goodbye, or something like that. He posts that funny tweet out there. So maybe you're all right. Maybe we would have had that, and then we could have had Kenta and CM Punk because they both had the same finisher. And but now it's like, this was their swerve. This was their way to add something to this match, which was the world title.
Yeah, for sure. It just made a lot more sense going with Mox versus Tanahashi, being that Mox been calling him out for almost 2 years. And here we have AEW versus New Japan. How is this not a matchup that you book on this show?
Indeed. Indeed. I agree.
But I'm glad that it's happening.
I really thought this match was going to end up as a knockout. You know, like with especially with their styles, though. You know, almost like a last man standing or like the Texas Death Match, you know. But I mean, they could save that for later on down the line, you know. But overall, you know, I got to see they're really putting over that paradigm shift as you know, used to be a DDT, and now it's just like a suplex. You flip them over. You know, it's a DDT pancake. You know,
not to cut you off, but they've been doing that in New Japan, where the way he did it in New Japan was different from the way he was doing that over in WWE and AEW.
Yeah, Death Rider.
It was just like a DDT over here, and then this is how it is now. Is how they were doing it in New Japan with them picking it up and doing
elevated,
and now it's just like I guess he carried it over, and he liked it more as the Death Rider than he did with just the DDT.
It's almost instead of the double arm, it almost reminds me of the 1916 DDT of Finn Balor. You know,
pretty much. I think that's what it looks like.
With that. Yeah.
Brian Cook says, here's something left out of the field. Along with William Regal, maybe Tony Khan can bring in Miss Jacqueline to help out.
That'd be cool.
Women's division. Yeah. I agree. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell of a legend.
Well, now you don't have to worry about Brandy Rhodes.
Exactly. No Brandy Rhodes.
Who said it was open mic night?
Yeah. I'll be like, Brandy, what?
Who the fuck is that guy?
I think we should, Ivan, we should switch it to the Family Guy with Peter. It's like, who the hell was that guy? Peter Griffin and Megan.
Oh, yes. I'm going to have to look for this. The moment we're waiting for, just whatever you guys think about. I mean, you got to break it down. I mean, but first, just very quick, because I want to give everybody, there's a lot of shit happening this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. You got Saturday, you got Fight TV, you got to watch Always Ready. I know Matt Cardona's not going to be there, so we don't know who's going to take his place for the NWA World Championship versus Nick Aldis.
There's a tag team with a ghost concept, with a ghost gimmick.
Yeah.
Isn't that Bestia, Say, and
they went full ghost. Yeah, they went full ghost.
Yes. It reminds me of Lucha Underground when Vampiro went against Pentagon and he came out like looking like the dead Pope or whatever.
That's right. That's right.
What's their name? What's their name again? The tag team name again?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
It's not, because I know the last I watched it like a month ago and they wrestled the Briscoes and they had a really good match. And it seems like they always win by like a roll up or something like
La Rebellion, right?
La Rebellion. Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty much versus Harry Smith and Tim Storm. Of course, Camille Brickhouse defending against Kylie King for the NWA Women's title. And of course, you have Rebel, I believe so it's called. They'll be defending the tag team titles. Versus, I'm trying to remember what the hell their name. I had the list here for a brief second. I'm looking for it. Kind of lost.
Pretty Empowered. That's what.
Pretty Empowered. Yes. Pretty Empowered. Yeah. Oh, Taya Valkyrie will be there as well. Samuel Shaw. I think Samuel Shaw is going to be the one taking Matt Cardona's place. Another person we forgot to mention that he's an injured man too. Sucks for him. The indie king, the deathmatch king.
Yeah. He's out 3 to 5 months or something like that.
Yeah.
He's still out a good amount of time, but just not as long. No. And I just want to make a point with the Kylan King, who was in AEW. One of the things I like to do is watch a lot of interviews, get like inputs from wrestlers. They asked her, they're like, "What happened with AEW?" She was like, "Nothing really happened." She was like, "I was getting used. I'm happy for what I did there. I was just looking at other opportunities to wrestle more, and my contract ran out. I didn't really get anything. They wanted to bring me in longer, and I chose that I wanted to try other things like NWA and whatnot." She was like, "The door is open anytime for me to come back to AEW." And this NWA thing was only supposed to be a one-match thing, and it wound up getting turned into this scenario where she got a lot of good feedback, and they kept bringing her back, and now she gets a title shot.
Indeed. And then we have Homicide. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, also, you guys being from Cali, shout out to Camille and Taya Valkyrie doing XPW, the Beautiful Disaster show that's coming up.
June 25th, yes.
Yeah.
And by that time, was it Persia Peralta, whatever her name is in NXT, her contract's going to be out, and her first match is going to be, I think, against Taya. It's going to be against Taya. So I'm interested to see how she does there.
XPW is looking legit now.
Yeah, finally, Rob
back.
Black ain't making a.
It took 20 years.
I know.
I know. And just another fun fact is Samuel Shaw on this pay-per-view. He was just in Thomas Latimer and Camille's wedding as one of the best men. You know who the other best man was?
Oh, I know you're talking about. Shit, I forgot his name. Oh,
Nick Aldis.
Nick Aldis, yes.
So how would that be if they wrestled each other?
Yeah,
but it'll be for the NWA World Title.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that wrong. I think that would be great to see.
I think that would be cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
for real.
And then we got Aaron Stevens, Trevor Murdoch. Of course, you have Jesus Christ. I don't know why.
Is that his retirement match too?
Oh, supposedly is what I'm rumoring. I'm not sure if it's confirmed. But and then the Homicide versus PJ Hawks for the NWA Junior Heavyweight title, and then of course you have Buddy Bray as commentary, and I know you have Tyrus defending the title, which I forgot who was he facing. I forgot the name of the individual. Jesus Christ, I had the card and it just went away. Fuck. But but I'm looking forward to see how NWA is. But I'm really looking forward to. And I'm going to let, of course, Matt Callis take this one over, of course, right here. Dominion, ladies and gentlemen. Dominion.
Can I just say one quick fact about NWA?
Go ahead. My apologies. No worries.
I used to work for a company in New York, right, called Tier 1 Wrestling. And I used to, help, book the show. And when we had our first show, they were asking, what matches should we do? They had, a list of talent. And a match that I suggested was doing Luke Hawx versus Homicide. So it's awesome. All these years later, we're seeing Homicide versus Luke Hawx' son, PJ Hawk. So that's
really
full circle.
So it's really dope for me. That has a special place in my heart to see that match.
And Tyrus is wrestling Mims, and then you got Jack Steen against Chris Adonis.
There you go. Yes, Chris Adonis.
Pretty good card.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good card. You're absolutely right. It's a pretty good card. I'm looking forward to see how it's going to be on Fight TV. So it's going to be.
It's cool seeing Homicide wrestling all these matches now because I just went to New Japan and they had him wrestle Will Ospreay, and that was a great match over there. And it kind of led to a thing with Eddie Kingston. So I'm excited to see where they go with Eddie Kingston and Will Ospreay with New Japan. But you're seeing Homicide go everywhere now and work. It makes you think maybe he's towards the end of his career now because he's going from territory to territory. He has this championship. He worked New Japan. He was in Impact for a little while and whatnot. It's cool to see these guys get all these options now to work from here to here because now it's not just the WWE where you can make money. You can make money anywhere and do it by just the appearance
100%,
with all these new organizations.
Indeed. I agree 100%. I'm going to let Matt Callis take it away because I'm going to need a beer for this one. This is going to be a long conversation. Matt Callis, pull up the card. You got to put it up on your side. And you're going to break it down the card. And, of course, you're going to have to ask the question while getting another beer. Which match is everybody looking forward to overall? So, Matt Callis, I'll be right back. I'm going to get a beer because this is going to be a long conversation. Because, I'm excited for this one. I need a beer.
All right, I'll read off the Dominion card.
So
we have, of course, you guys want to do top to bottom, bottom to top, from beginning, opening card. All right, so opening card, we got Hiroshi Tenzan and 6 or 9. That's Master Wato and Ryusuke Taguchi versus United Empire. Aaron Hanare, Francisco Akira, and TJP. We got Los Ingobernables de Japón, Hiromu Takahashi, Tetsuya Naito, and Bushi versus Bullet Club, of course, Taiji Ishimori, Ace Austin, the X Division champion, and El Phantasmo. Next up, we got Toru Yano versus Doc Gallows. Then we have the Never Openweight 6-man tag team championship. We got House of Torture, that's Evil Show and Yujiro Takahashi, versus Suzuki-gun, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Zack Sabre Jr., and El Desperado. Then we got the IWGP Tag Team Championship. We got Bullet Club, Chase Owens, and Bad Luck Fale. That's the heavyweight tag team championship. versus the United Empire, Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan. And we have the interim AEW World Championship Eliminator match, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Hiroki Goto. And, you know, I got so much love for Hiroki Goto. He's never won like a world championship, and I think he deserves it, in my opinion. If I'd be 100% okay with Hiroki Goto just coming out of nowhere and, you know, taking the title all over. But, you know, we'll discuss that in a little bit. He has such a cool look, all white with the Japanese symbols. King of Pro Wrestling 2022 Championship, Shingo Takagi versus Taichi. You know, he's the one with that Visual K Goth theme. We have the Never Openweight Championship, Tama Tonga, the current champion, versus Machine Gun Carl Anderson. And then we have the IWGP United States Championship, Juice Robinson versus Sonata versus Will Ospreay. You know, 2 heels and a face. I got a lot. I wouldn't mind seeing Sonata in the US and AEW. And then, of course, we got the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Okada versus Jay White. What matches is everybody excited for?
All right.
This whole card is stacked.
I do want to make a minor thing that I was kind of mad at. That the whole time they were doing the Best of the Super Junior, they're like, okay, you got the Best of Super Junior. The winner gets a shot at the title at Dominion. What do? They go and put it on June 20th on a New Japan Road card on the main event.
That's sad.
Instead of having Hiromu and Ishimori, and somebody made the comment, maybe they're afraid that those two steer the show and overshadow Okada and Jay White because of how they can.
You gotta defend that belt.
Yeah.
Why take it off Dominion?
Yeah, and then another one was 6ix9ine are wrestling Francisco Akira and TJP for the junior heavyweight title since they lost to them. And instead of having that at Dominion, you're going to put it on the day before the 20th, on the 19th, as the main event, as the headliner of that show. So it's like you have 2 title matches that should be on Dominion, but you're replacing them with 3-on-3 matches just to make do. So you have 2 title matches on New Japan Road, because you're going to do New Japan Road for 4 days, and then you got like this 2-week period where you're going to have Forbidden Door. And then they're not going to be on again until I think the 1st or 2nd of July.
Yeah.
So it's like, is this the reason why they're doing this? Because why are you going to do all this press about having the champions fight at Dominion if you're not going to have that match at Dominion?
That makes sense. Very brief. Brian said Dominion is like a 10 ace deck. Now, if only Shinsuke was New Japan, the dream match options. Ooh, Brian, I'm doing for you.
I miss Shinsuke in New Japan.
Me too. Brian, I'm going to do it for you. I'll do it for you because you asked for it. I know you love it. So I'll do it. There you go, Brian. That's for you. Oh, man. But yeah, Matt Callis said it best. What match are you guys looking for? This is a fucking stack hard, man. So I'll go with you, Dinero. What are you looking for this one? What is it that you're looking for?
I'm definitely looking forward to that main event because of all the implications of Forbidden Door. But also, I'm really looking forward to Carl Anderson and Tama Tonga. These guys been calling each other out for a couple years now, so it should be interesting when they finally get one-on-one matchup against each other. And also, Hiroki Goto and Tanahashi. That's going to be a really good matchup, even before you have like the stakes of who's going to be going against the AEW interim title or who's going against Jon Moxley. That matchup alone, like you got 2 New Japan legends who are going to always like show out and deliver. I'm excited for that. I do wish we had the IWGP Junior Champion on this show, but it is what it is. This card is stacked. It's going to be a long card. But also, Sonata, Juice, and Will Ospreay, that 3-way should be phenomenal. We seen 2/3 of that 3-way at the Collision. What was it? Collision in what was the show they did in the United States?
Capital
Collision. It was, and then if you remember in the New Japan Cup when Sonata hurt his orbital, it was the match between him and Will Ospreay. So you got a little bit of each thing running
Yeah.
between the three of them, because that's when the whole not with that. That's one of the times when Will Ospreay started to get screwed out of every match that he's been in,
Yeah.
and since then, and then Juice comes in after Sonata gets hurt and wins the title there when there was a kind of vacant, and it's like now you have you had Juice and Will Ospreay going back and forth, and then here you go. It was one-on-one match, but then as Matty does with the curveball, you throw back in a healthy Sonata into this match. Since he never lost the title, he had to give it up due to injury. So it adds another wrinkle into the match. I think this is going to be the show steal here, this match. I have no idea where they're going. They could hold it, keep it on Juice Robinson, but they could also put it on back on Sonata. I don't think they're going to put it on Will Ospreay. I think they'll find a way to screw him out of the match, keep that little storyline going with that. I just don't know where they're going to go with it.
United Empire,
Yeah.
I think that match. Yeah, I think this match being added to this card and being on this card just puts this card over the top, and that's why I don't know. I feel like the whole thing about them not having the junior IWGP Championship matchup because they didn't want to outshine the card. You don't add a match like this then in this card if that was the case, because this match is going to be a show stealer.
Agreed, man.
And I think if they don't put it on Sonata now, they eventually will put it back on him, because there was that whole thing with him winning it because it was his first solo title, and they made a big deal about it. And to have him win it over Tanahashi at the time was a big deal, because Tanahashi is one of the biggest people over there. And for him to drop it because he was hurt, kind of just was saddened, because it was a big moment for him and he had to drop it before he could really defend it at any point. So I feel like maybe if he doesn't win it now, there will be a big thing down the road between him and Juice.
I definitely agree 100%, because the fact is that Sonata is underrated overall. He never gets over the hype. How many times he's won? He's been in the finals twice in the G1. He competed. And had I hate to use 5 beers fucking matches. 6-pack matches he had in the finals.
If you remember how Yo made it to the finals last year, where he lost his first 4 matches, and then won the rest. They got that from Sonata the year before, where he won the last 5 matches of the G1 to make it to fight Kota Ibushi, and they had an awesome 30-minute match. That was great with all those reversals, and he had that background of he was always the bridesmaid, always the one making it to that point and then losing. And then he finally busts over the hump and gets that title just to lose it. So maybe they're working that a little bit. Maybe they're working that to be like, oh yeah, he won it, but then he didn't get to defend it. So that it gives us a reason to start the chase over again.
Yeah. Agreed. But here's my thing, though, very brief, very quick. Out of all this Ingobernables, he's the main one that hasn't really been pushed completely. I mean, we've seen Bushi. Bushi did his time already, way back then. But
I think I know why, because he's not truly from Japan. He didn't do the dojo way, I believe it was.
That's probably why.
Because he started out in Impact. He wrestled over there for a while. A lot of these guys actually did. But I don't even
one.
Yeah. I don't even think he did the dojo way is what I'm thinking. So maybe that's why. But then you've got guys that are like Gaijin that came over and have won the title, like Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. So and a lot of people like him over there. He gets a lot of big things, and he's won the tag title so many times, I feel like.
And never open weight 6-man. He's won that before. I mean, that's all he's done, but he's never won a solo title. So I'm hoping to put it back for him. Yeah, and I hope he's the show too.
Yeah, and they have to have some trust in him to where at Wrestle Kingdom he's wrestled for the British World Championship, the IC title. I think he did the tag titles. I think he also did the
him and Evil. Yeah, they did that before.
And the never open weight. I think he did once.
Yes, he did.
I think
he made the rounds.
Yeah, he's made his rounds at Wrestle
but
Kingdom,
he's never gotten the titles.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the thing. That's the only problem. He's never gotten an actual run with a title. He's done it with tags and 6-mans, but that's it. He hasn't done nothing else.
I gotta say this about the perception about Sonata. Sonata's actually very, he's very liked in Japan. If you guys remember, like, he got this one victory, no title, but everybody in the audience, it was like a concert when he won. Like they turned the lights off, everybody turned their cell phone lights on. You remember that, right, Dan?
Yeah.
That night.
They did it in the G1. It's actually a thing that they do now whenever he wins in the main event. And they're in like a dark area. They turn all the lights off. They put the cell phones on or lights or whatever they do. And that's how he speaks. He speaks to the crowd that way. It's become his thing.
It's a great visual too.
Yeah.
He's so over amongst the people. The people love him in Japan because you can't really hear it because of the lack of cheering right now. But once we get to hear that full screaming and shouting, you will finally hear how much that crowd wants Sonata, and I think in Japan itself, he's the man.
He's very, very respected. He grooms himself very well. I've seen his interviews in Japan, like how he pretty much presents himself. The guy is your guy. Sonata could be your natural Nick Aldis. I could say I could put a compare to him because how he is.
I was saying.
And he has that charisma and that potential. It's just that Gato and whoever's in charge are not really putting the trigger with him.
And it's crazy.
I don't know what is it,
And it's crazy because you see him on social media, even though I can't understand what they're saying or decipher the language on the computer. I see him on like Instagram and stuff. Him and Shingo Takagi are like best friends or whatnot ever since he joined that. So they have this funny back and forth thing between the two of them that you don't see on TV because he's more serious as a wrestler, but off of it, he's a big goofball, the two of them, with the way they work together. And Shingo has won it. He's built himself. And it's like, I want to see that moment for Sonata. I want to see him have the chase and then to finally get it, because I think that, and if they could do that at a Wrestle Kingdom down the line, he would get a big pop. They had that whole great thing with him and Evil where he got that big match. He won it. And then at the end of Wrestle Kingdom, he came out to challenge Kota Ibushi. And I'm like, damn. I was like, that's a great moment. But just because Kota Ibushi won, that he's not going to lose his first defense as champion. So it's like, even though it was a great moment because it was the last moment at Wrestle Kingdom, it still kind of got put over by the fact that you knew he was going to lose.
I think Sonata's a good candidate for the G1 this year to win the G1 and go all the way.
Oh yeah,
to have Sonata main event Wrestle Kingdom, that would be awesome.
I would have cried, man.
And then when he wins it, like that's when he finally gets his moment in the biggest stage. Like it would be.
That would be perfect, especially
it's Sonata time.
Especially if you did like the Punk Tanahashi thing, and you make that happen. That could be a reason why you do it. It gives
what
you
a card that would be with just those two matches.
Absolutely. Oh my man, this is like Ned Flanders to fucking day today because Jesus Christ, this fantasy fucking at his best. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that all of us here are fucking New Japan marks. And thank you. I love you all. Thank you so much, man. Damn it, man. I love you guys.
And I've only started it for like 2 years now because I didn't know what it was for the longest time. And then my buddy was just like, you need to check it out. And then he was like, we need to do a show about it. I was like, I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I'll do the show with you. And then just over time, I just subscribed and I just went back into the vault, checked everything out, and then now I'm just like boom, boom, boom. I'm like a New Japan mark, like × 2 with it now, where like I know everything. I watch it weekly. It's just become one of my favorite things to watch.
Absolutely, man. And we are gonna do a recap for New Japan only because there's gonna be a lot to talk about. So we'll talk about that out there. But Big Dan, I mean, so you already chose. So you're choosing the triple threat, then you being the Steelers show. Okay.
Yes, I think it's that. He said Anderson Tamatanga. I do think that's going to be really good with how they're building up that rivalry there, and I think Tamatanga has showcased himself a lot. And he talked about it a little bit. I watch a podcast, Thomas Island, where they bring him on Twitch, and he talks about a lot of things.
Yeah.
They actually have him talk about AEW and WWE to get his point. But it's like I like where they're going with him, and I like how they put the never open weight title on him, because it's like, okay, we can put it on him, see where he works, and these two can have a very underrated match. But how can you leave off and talk about one of the underrated matches and not talk Sonata, Ospreay, and Juice Robinson? I was like, you could just have two of those guys in the match, and it's going to be a great match. But then you had a third guy did a mix with two different kind of, not two different rivalries, but two different storylines involved into it, and it's a recipe for perfection.
Chef
man, Chef's Kiss right there. Yes, I love. References. I'm sorry, but there's too many fucking videos today I have to play because it's just so fucking exciting.
I love it.
But excitement in here. Fuck, I love it. Sorry, TK, I have to use it.
Let's fucking go.
That's right. I have to use it. That's right. My Callus, we're waiting for you. You're best for last.
Same thing with Dan. I'll keep it short. Same deal. That triple threat's going to be the show stealer. Sonata is so underrated. So,
man,
I mean, to American audiences. Basically what I'm saying. So
man, praise the Lord. Another thing I wanted to do want to mention on this card that I was looking very carefully. There's one match I am intrigued though, because maybe they thought from my recollection, maybe you guys can help me with it. But this one right here is what I'm talking about is pretty much Shingo Takagi and Taichi. I think that match will be a little bit of a sleeper for us. I think maybe they could do something. They
did announce the two things the other day. They had a press conference for it, and where they had them sit in. It was kind of funny where they were talking about what they want their stipulations to be. I have to bring it back up because they stated it, and I forget what it is. One is like a 10 count with how many pinfalls you can get in 10 minutes, something like that. I forget what it is, but it's just like how they work together on the mic is just funny. How they're going back and forth between the two of them. And it was good because the press conference was just them. It was just them two talking about the KOBW stipulations, and I just ate it all up because I'm like, okay, I don't understand what they're saying, but then when you have them do like the English right afterwards, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing with this. Because it's always the fact where it's like they do the Japanese, and then you got Kevin Kelly come in like a minute later with what they're actually saying.
Yeah,
and it's funny how they do it. Like, but that could be one. I do think that could be a good match out of the bunch.
I don't know. What are you? Do you agree?
I definitely agree. I think that they're two top elite athletes, and I think that the chemistry they have is good. So I could see them, I don't know about being like match of the night because there's just so much on this card, but I think that it's going to be a solid match that complements the card.
Yeah,
sure.
I feel like that's going to be like a sleeper one. I agree with you on that. It's not going to be match of the night, but I think it's going to at least hype the crowd up a little bit. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Because not only that, another, like Tai Chi for me is underrated too. He hasn't really given the spotlight himself as well. And I feel, I think the last time I seen Tai Chi be at that level was the last year, so 2 years ago in the J Cup tournament, during the pandemic, where we saw him elevate, and I was really happy for him because we finally were able to see what he could bring as a singles competitor. Because most of the time, you always see him in the tag team or the 6-man. So, and then we know she was credentials already for my WGP World Champion. So I know he could bring to the table. And I think he could deliver with him, and I think it's going to be it's a sleeper match, but then it's not going to be a match of the night. I agree with you what you guys saying, but still.
And I don't think it's going to be a match of the night, but Toru Yano and Doc Gallows, I think it will be an entertaining match because, as you know, anytime Toru Yano's in a match, you wonder what he's going to do next to top what he did the night before with all the crazy things. And with that, I'm just picturing him with Gallows with that long beard and what he can tie that beard around.
Doing some like Three Stooges thing.
Yeah, like
pull the beard, hit the head.
Because you've always seen so many things where he tapes his opponent up in the G1, they win by count out, and they get to the apron. He tears the thing off, low blows. He does it all. Like he did it all, and it was synonymous with the KOBW. And now they built a match here just because I guess he made fun of Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, and that's why they booked this match, because Doc Gallows was like, "Oh, he made fun of me. Okay, we're wrestling now at Dominion." It's like, okay,
I like
so you know something's funny is going to happen here, where you know he's going to win by a funny tactic.
Absolutely. Hey, one thing I'm gonna throw out before we get, so we get this very quick. Don't be surprised. I'm calling it out right now. During that match, I swear if I see it happen, I will laugh my ass off. I will message everybody. If I see Toriano grab that fucking bell and he rings it and makes fucking Gallows stop like he was, Festus, I will be laughing my ass off right now.
That would be phenomenal.
Hey, that'll be some funny shit if it ever happens.
Bringing it back. Call back.
Bringing it back. The last topic of the night, because I'm going to let Matt Callis end it, and this is another one that's competing with Dominion, and I know people are not really familiar. I don't know if you gentlemen are as well, and that is Cyberfest that's happening as well the same night. This card is incredibly stacked because, you have DDT Wrestling and Noah, and, you have, Joshi Tokyo Pro.
Tokyo Joshi Pro.
Yeah, Jogi, yes. In this match, and then RVD's making his return in the 6-man tag, as you can see right there. And then of course you have Kojima challenging for the Noah Championship versus Shosaki. So that one's I'm looking forward to seeing that match. Keno and Sasaki, that press conference they had got me hyped, and I think that's gonna be the match of the night that will steal the show for me, because I love Keno because he has that. He reminds me of a young version of Naito, and he has that fucking.
You almost was teased to fight Naito at Wrestle Kingdom.
I wanted that. That's what I wanted to happen. So it was like, and then, you must have Sasaki is going to be there. Nakajima, Jesus Christ.
Keno set his boot on fire and kicked Keiji Muto with it. Like he put lighter fluid on his boot and kicked Keiji Muto with it.
He did it the right way, unlike Joey Janela.
And
also, you got legends like Dr. Wagner Jr. on this card.
Yes, you see that too. Yeah, right. Man,
this is stacked. This is competing against Dominion. I thought it was the same day, but not the same time. Is it competing?
I think it's the same. No, different time.
Different time, right? Yeah,
different time.
Well, it's a long event though. There's a lot of
long event. It's probably gonna be some overlap.
Yeah, there's gotta be some overlap. But you
guys trying to make me not sleep that night?
Well, it's like you kind of fast forward to the matches you want to see. That's a great thing. You could, if you have a Wrestle Universe membership, you could watch this whenever you want. Yeah. Wink. Much love to everybody over at Noah. If you have your Wrestle Universe membership, go Shiozaki.
Sure.
He has. I've noticed there's been an increase with clothesline finishers. Like Hangman Adam Page has the buckshot lariat, Okada has the Rainmaker, and Go Shiozaki, he has a discus lariat as his finisher. He has a very powerful lariat as his finisher. So Shiozaki, he's almost like the Okada of Noah, but he's definitely his own animal and his own thing going on, But Keno, he's like a King of Fighters character. But what's up? The RVD match is going to be Rob Van Dam, RVD, we all know him, Yoshinari Ogawa, and Hayata versus Kaito Kiyomiya, Daisuke Harada, and Yohei. Kaito Kiyomiya, he's almost like he'll also kind of remind you of like a mix of Kota Ibushi and kind of like a mix of Kota Ibushi and Okada, his look, but he's only 24. And he's been a GHC champion, several times already, at least 3 times now, if I'm not mistaken. And he'll also like kind of similar to Konosuke Takeshita. He had at the last Cyber Fight Festival, he had a mixed tag match against Konosuke Takeshita.
By the way, Michael Edwards going to be there, and Ready Dupree, I forgot, and Simon Gotch. So
Simon Gotch.
Oh my God,
a lot of talent on this card.
It's a lot of talent, dude.
It's national talent too.
And not to change the subject too much, but you mentioned Kota Ibushi. What if he was in the All-Atlantic match?
That's not out of the question.
That is not out of the question.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because he hasn't been focused, and they said all they did was they docked them 10% until September for the.
That's just money. He saves up his money.
Yeah, he saves his money, but he never got suspended, so
he could go anywhere.
Yeah. And then, I mean, of course, you have the ties with him and Kenny. I'm sure Kenny Omega would love to see Kota in AEW, so that would be awesome.
That's there for the story. And while Kenny's recovering, I keep on pitching this idea, Commissioner Kenny. There you go.
There's a lot. And then you have Tetsuya Endo, Jun Akiyama, of course, Higuchi.
Yeah, Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita.
Man, there's so much fucking.
Yuki Arai. I'll give you guys a backstory on Yuki Arai. If I'm not mistaken, she's a member of a pop group in Japan. She's a currently active pop idol, and Maki Ito is a fired idol. So she's real salty at her about that. It's like, how are you?
Salty or salty like Mr. Fuji throwing the salt in you? Like, what are you
talking about? All of it, a little bit. She might bring the salt. She actually might bring it. She might literally throw salt at her. I mean, she gave.
I'm actually interested in really watching this and seeing how it goes, because it looks like it's a stacked card,
bro. We will talk to you after you're very brief to give you that information. But
the women's mixed tag match at the very beginning: Hyper Misao, Yuki Aino, Raku, Pam Harajuku, and Haruna Neko versus Nao Kakuta, Mahiro Kiru, Moka Miyamoto, Arisa Endo, and Kaya Toribami. It's kind of like seeing a Young Lions match, but with the girls. Hyper Misao, Hurricane Helms, Shane Helms was even talking about like tagging with her. She's like outside of Nikki Ash. I'd say she's doing a better job with the superhero gimmick in the outer world. So she's got that going on. So there's a lot of things. A lot of things in this there, and watch out for some comedy. Don't be surprised, because there's a match on this card where they're using every single prop that was ever used every single prop that was ever used for the DDT Iron Man Heavy Metal Weight Championship.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah,
but man, this
including the napkin holder that won the championship.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, man, this card is going to be stacked for Cyberfest. Make sure.
I want to get your opinion on the news that they just announced with New Japan, where them and Stardom are going to be hosting an event in November.
I'm happy for them. I think it's finally. The one thing is that obviously Bushido is now opening the doors of now collaboration with women. Because we already know how the culture in Japan, they separate themselves with the women, like let them be their own thing, and not do a collaboration like here in the States.
They do. So now they're open.
But I agree. But when New Japan is different, they're traditional.
Yeah,
they're more like more different style, very traditional. Going back to the Inoki era, like towards that era, it's pretty much like, hey, this is art. This is men only. That's what the tradition, we could say, we don't live by that because it's we're a different era now, but they in Japan, however, still has that type of mentality.
But you catch a little bit of it, because a lot of the wrestlers over here now have at one point been over in Stardom, and you've seen just like bits and pieces of matches with them over there and wrestling the style, because it's still stable format there. They just do it a little differently with Stardom than they do New Japan. And I haven't watched too many, but I've caught a little bit of matches, and it's very entertaining. It's just with watching so much already as it is, it's hard to keep in track of that on top of everything else. But it's like it's cool seeing the names that have come over from there and made a name for themselves there to come over here to either AEW or WWE, because I think there's 3 people in WWE right now and 3 or 4 in AEW that all were in Stardom.
I think it's a very progressive move for New Japan, which is good.
Yeah, I know. I agree too. I think it's finally about time they head that direction, and hopefully by that time the crowd's able to cheer and more. It's more open, and I'm curious to see, especially the New Japan fans and Stardom fans coming together, and how would they interact to seeing 2 platforms in one. I'm very intrigued how to see that, and like how I've been saying. I think we've all been saying it that. Having promotions work with each other is to help each other. I scratch your back, you scratch my back. We expose each other's talents. Us as marks, professional wrestling marks, we are going to be intrigued of seeing that, that product. And that's how in Japan is, how, Matt, describes it a lot, that there's not much fans from DDT that goes to a Noah promotion or New Japan. Not much New Japan goes to Noah. But however, though, they're willing to put their egos aside and combine and work each other out and have collaboration, promotion, and having different fans to come with each other, which is great. Which is New Japan, I could say, is the pinnacle of it, along with Ring of Honor that started that when they did the Worlds Collide, along with CMLL, and also Inoki days, how he worked with AAA as well. So I'm glad to see that it's reviving back and is going to that, and now with the women's direction as well. I'm glad they're getting away with the traditional men and women. Oh, you do your own shit, you do my shit. Yeah, I'm glad that DDT broke that barrier, and it made it to where it's at now. And I'm looking forward to seeing that for sure, man. I'm excited. This is so much fucking shit that we're all gonna be watching this weekend. And I swear I'm not gonna sleep for shit this weekend. That I'll be watching nothing.
I'm telling you, Dominion starts at 1 a.m. Eastern. And I'm staying up and I'm watching the whole thing live because I'm like, I don't want to wait and have somebody spoil it for me with all the things that possibly could happen. So I'm just going to stay up and watch it. And then you're just talking about this week. We got next week, Triple A is going to be on. And I'm excited for that because they just announced that they're doing the tournament and they're going to have 2 AEW competitors in it. They're going to have Ray Phoenix. You already knew that he was going to be in it, but then they're also going to have Christopher Daniels in it as well.
There we go.
And I'm excited because he's been making his rounds because of course he's 50 years old. He's about to retire and everything, so he's making his rounds. And I'm like, I got to see him in it, and I got to see how he does it in AAA because they already have Ray Phoenix in it. Not the Young Bucks. They were just in it. The Hardys are going to be in it. So there's you're going to see them in it. See who they wrestle. I think they're wrestling Dragon Lee and it might be. I forget who.
No, it was Dragon Lee and Tradistico.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. But then on top of that, you're going to put Christopher Daniels in there into a tournament, and then have Ray Phoenix in it too. Ooh.
This is so much shit.
And don't be surprised if Christopher Daniels is also on the TNA Originals team for Slammiversary as well.
Yeah. Or Samoa Joe. Could be either him, Daniel, Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Never know. But man,
I would like to see them pull a real weird name out of the hat. Put I know Wildcat Chris Harris was on Impact. That would be funny if Chris Harris is there. Or even if you put Chris Harris and James Storm together again,
I was going to say
America's Most Wanted.
I was going to say James Storm isn't even doing anything. I feel like right now,
and we haven't seen America's Most Wanted in how many years?
Woohoo!
So, yep, we're not going to see Beer Bunny. So
no, it ain't gonna happen. But man, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We gave you 3 hours of nothing but great fucking shit, and I love it because. We covered
jam-packed episode.
Jam-packed. No,
if you don't subscribe after that episode, then you're a hater.
Exactly.
Come on.
And make sure you subscribe to our brothers here, our familia. Make sure you subscribe to Dan, to Cage My IQ on his YouTube channel, all social media platforms, along with my other hermano, Mike De Niro's The DeLorean Wrestling Podcast on Twitch, on YouTube, and on the social media platforms. These two gentlemen here bringing the best content from MMA, besides also pro wrestling and back take to the eras. These two, I love you guys. I'm glad, and you already know the doors is always welcome. I really want to do a New Japan Dominion recap and focus on that next week. We'll talk about it in the air, off the air a little bit, and we'll get it done because I really want to do that. And I know Matt Callis is excited for that too. Because that's something that us four here. Hey, look, I'm going to say it right now. Tonight, you just had Matt Callis all day today because it's always him and I that always discuss about New Japan. This is the first time in his life that we were having a full conversation of New Japan only.
Well, Ivan, I'll say this in general. When we talk about Japanese wrestling, we talk about PROWRESTLING. All Japan, Noah, New Japan, Dragon Gate. Like, we go deep with it. Pro Wrestling Diana. I haven't even watched that one. I haven't. The list goes on and on. Tokyo Joshi Pro, Stardom, Sendai Girls. The list goes on. It's endless. They have their own indie promotions as well. Choco Pro, all of that.
Yeah. All of that shit. And that's why, I love, what we all do, especially what Dan and Mike does. I love it that you guys are really out there as well and not acknowledging our audiences and your audiences as well of everything. That it's just not two products, it's everything else, and that's 100%, what I love. What the hell we do, man. And once again, I appreciate you guys for coming in, and I hope you guys come back for episode 106 because I want to know you guys' more thoughts. Keep on coming in because it's that time, man. Your favorite segment of the night to end it.
Autobots, transform and roll out.
I just tagged one of you in a meme where it's like the Autobots forgot their best disguise was turning into vehicles and they're wearing like lab coats.
Oh man, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Just very brief, and to our audio platform listeners as well that are listening on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you're listening to around the world. And also shout out to Scotland that have been listening to us a lot. Thank you so much. You don't know how to speak Scottish, but thank you so much out there in the European world. And to our Latino familia that are listening from South America, Colombia, Nicaragua, Honduras, México, muchas gracias por el apoyo aquí en el Cerco de Debate. No se olviden para suscribir aquí a nuestra familia, a nuestros hermanos, al señor Dan de su canal de Cage My IQ. Va a estar en la descripción abajo para que puedan suscribir, porque él les da lo bueno de todo de UFC, de Bellator, de PFL, lo que sea, lo que si le gustan de la pelea de MMA. A él lo pueden suscribir para que él le da todos los detalles. Y a nuestro hermano, el señor Mike De Niro, asegúrese de que suscribe a ellos también a su canal de Wrestling Delorean Podcast. Va a estar también abajo en la descripción donde pueden suscribir. Lo pueden seguir en Twitch, lo pueden seguir en YouTube. Ahora, donde ustedes gustarían, va a estar ahí las notificaciones. Suscribe, por favor. Apoya a estos hermanos en sus canales porque ellos le dan todo por lo contento para ustedes. Y muchas gracias por escucharnos y a vernos aquí en Cerco de Debate también. Al señor Macanes también y el señor aquí de Divies, bueno, Iván. Les agradecemos por todo el apoyo y el soporte. Suscribe. Y aquí vamos a ir para la próxima semana para todos ustedes. Gracias por todo el apoyo y el amor. So now I want to pass it on to Matt Callis to either end it here in Japanese.
I gotta say, Circle of Debate, Moto Ichiban. I won't say too much, but I gotta say, nobody who hate watches this for 3 hours just to,
Kofi was a kid, man. We live, baby. Yeah. Whoa. We about to end, baby.
What's good, Kofi? Styles Dirty Heels Podcast.
Hey, I could serve you up our last call drink.
Clap.
But yeah, it's like we're serving up last call right here. So, but before we serve our last call for wrestling alcohol.
It's
you know,
I just started. It's hot.
Yeah. So I gotta say it's like if you watch this, I guess our longest episode yet. If you tuned into our longest episode and you're still here watching, much love to you. Thank you for watching this. Because nobody hate watches something for 3 hours. So you're definitely a loyal listener. We got a lot of love to you who watched all the way to the end. We love you guys. We love all y'all. You know, and you know what do we do here, Ivan? You want me to say it?
Or you have to say that.
I guess I'm gonna have to say it. I gotta let you know we don't make wrestling here. We don't make wrestling podcast. We make history.
I think we all do here because not only just a circle debate, Cage My HQ, Wrestling Delorean, the whole League of Extraordinary Podcast,
League of Extraordinary Podcast,
everybody, and also, of course, the League of Extraordinary Idiots because I have respect for them. So you already know I do. So you let them know I do. So I have nothing against them. But yes, because we appreciate all of them, and we appreciate you. We all fucking made
will
over and over
make
over and over
history
over and over and over and over.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.